What is up, homies? Welcome back to another episode of the CzechXicans here on Heroes Reforged.
Hector, find the...
Bow, 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 bow.
No!
Oh. Yeah! There it is,
CzechXicans.
I love how you told him, you were like right before, hey man, don't f that up.
Yeah.
And the first thing you do is you mess up your buttons. There you go. You redeemed yourself. You
Nicely
totally
done.
redeemed yourself.
A little bit.
After the smash success of episode 1,
Yeah.
episode 2 of CzechXicans is back.
That's right. We did do a bonus episode in between as well. That was exclusive for
Patrons
Patreon.
have a bonus episode, so
They
go ahead
do.
and join over if you're interested.
Which is more or less like an extension of the Q&A, but we also did talk about quite a few things.
We had some good talks. We talked about core memories.
Movies that inspired us to get
Hector
into the
had some
industry.
cool moments, but we, we'll let the people decide if they want to go over there. And
If you want to check that out, you can go to
Check that out.
patreon.com/heroesreforged.
we got merch.
That's right, we do. We're currently selling this shirt right now. We're going to be working on something for the holidays as well, something exclusive that's going to drop.
Ooh.
So it's going to be very limited. So you better
Very
be ready to click, and get your fingers
I've
on
just
that.
been alternating between this and the green one
Yeah.
for the holidays, but now I have something holiday official. That's
Oh yeah, I
great.
actually have a What It Is shirt for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, finally.
I wanted
And when
that.
we all go out in public, we're all going to be matching.
Oh my
So
God.
It's going to be amazing.
Speaking of Patreon, literally right before we started recording, we were talking about plans for next year.
2022.
For the end of the year, we're going to be doing Hawkeye, not Hot Guy.
Hot guy.
He might be hot in it.
Hot
Who knows?
guy.
Actually, by the time you see this, we'll already have started the reaction series for that.
Oh.
So check that out as well. And we'll be finishing out the year with the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Those are the two major things that we'll be working on till the end of the year.
TV show, not a book.
That's right. But for next year, we're talking about maybe changing up the Patreon a little bit.
Restructuring.
Yeah.
Not taking anything away, but maybe adding some cool benefits. But keep your eye out. Keep your ears out. We're going to be talking about that stuff later on in the year.
Yeah.
And see if it's viable. See if it's something we can kind of hang on to and keep going. And if you like it, then, consider subscribing or consider whatever however you want to support it.
So
I
I'm
don't
a
care.
really big...
Leave. I don't care.
No, don't leave. Don't say that.
Honestly, we don't care. Meaning we're supportive of you either way.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever you want to do.
We appreciate the support.
I do.
We'll
No
support you.
judgment.
I always do feel bad when we have people, like in the exit survey, they're like, so sorry, guys, I can't afford it right now. And I'm like,
okay.
dude, we're never going to guilt anybody who has to put like their priorities first.
Yeah, like
You
I
know?
didn't. They make it feel like I put a gun to their head. I was like,
Yeah.
"Give me $5."
No, but we're
don't do that.
super thankful and appreciative of the community who can support us and choose to support us month to month to month, and never feel bad that you have to put your
Yeah,
priorities first.
exactly.
Especially
Don't-
because of the holidays and all that kind of stuff.
Don't skip
just life.
rent if it means getting rid of your Patreon.
Yeah,
to people.
exactly.
So, yeah, for sure.
But I really like this YouTube channel called Colin and Samir. And I know I've sent you guys links to a lot of the interviews that they've done. They recently did an interview with the CEO of Patreon. And it was just really insightful to hear directly from him about what's made creators successful, what has been successful for the company, what the company has done that has been like a huge misfire. Something that they did talk about that I'm really excited for. You will be able to natively upload videos to Patreon now. Or
Explain.
not now, but soon.
Explain.
So now the way it works is when we do our uncut reaction videos for Patreon, they go on YouTube as an unlisted link.
Right.
And then we copy paste that link over to Patreon for people to watch. I hate doing that. I feel like that can be a trap because people can share the links and all that stuff. Thankfully, our community are kind people who don't do that sort of thing. But I am part of a Reactor Discord channel, and they talk about that all the time, that there are people who come in, steal their links and all that sort of stuff. So Patreon...
they do that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Blind Wave has been one of the biggest channels who has suffered from people stealing links
Wow.
and sharing and all that stuff.
Sneaky link.
Yeah. So I'm not sure when it's launching, but at some point next year, we'll be able to upload things natively to Patreon.
So there'll be a video on Patreon's website.
That only
Yep.
exists on Patreon.
Yeah, so
Yep,
people
yep.
can't share that link.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
So at some point next year, I'll go through and I'll re-upload everything to Patreon.
Whoa.
And it'll be accessible through there, and I'll pull
Okay.
everything from YouTube. And then going forward, we'll upload everything
Okay.
Awesome.
uncut to Patreon directly.
Cool.
Another thing they talked about, which is why we've been having conversation about changing tiers and updating stuff, is because they've said that the biggest success they've seen from creators are from people who constantly modify, change, update, talk to their audience to get feedback of like, if we wanted to do this, Are you interested? Are you not interested? So I think that's going to be a really big thing.
Let's throw it
that we
out
wanna
to
do.
the people that are watching. If there's anything, I mean, besides adding more things for us to watch, because our time is very limited, is there anything really cool that you've seen on any other patrons that you're just like, I want to see these guys do this?
Yeah, whether it's a benefit or an additive piece. Because I think the big thing is when we ask that question, people are like, react to these 10 shows.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not necessarily what we're asking for.
Yes, exactly.
What is a benefit that you've received on a Patreon or another Patreon or have heard of that you're like, oh, that's actually really cool that you think could be valuable for us?
Do you need NFTs? Do you need exclusive merch?
Not going to get them from us. The NFTs, that is. No.
If I have to deal with non-fungible tokens, you'll never see me again.
I'll throw one out there. Let's test the waters a little bit. If we were to, for example, set a goal at our Patreon level, which is currently hovering around 1,200 right now, which is awesome. If we were to hit 1,500, when that happens, what if we maybe decided to possibly watch the 1990s X-Men cartoon show from the beginning? Maybe watch it along with you guys. I don't know. I know there's a new X-Men show coming out. A new animated X-Men show called X-Men 97.
So you're talking,
picking up after that.
Going episode by episode and reacting to each episode?
Yeah, maybe.
Or
if people are into that.
Okay.
If people are into that. I mean, I was thinking, full disclosure, of us watching like a batch of episodes and then putting out some kind of like fully edited. Did you just cover your microphone to burp?
Yeah.
Classy.
It's good.
Like an edited, 20 to 40 minute chunk of us watching like 3 or 4 or whatever. Like break up a season in a couple different ways. But the point being, would people want to watch on Disney Plus the original 90s X-Men cartoon show from the beginning with us? Let us know. I don't know. It could be fun.
In a dream world.
Oh,
that's right.
How fun would that be?
Yeah, we've never really. When we started the Patreon, it was more of like, what can we offer the audience? And the goals are really for us.
Right.
More than the audience.
Yeah,
because the audience is helping us reach goals and milestones that help us make more stuff.
Yeah.
Like currently nobody can see it, but right now in our Patreon outline plan, every new 1,000 patrons that we get, we all hug each other.
Yeah.
Because that's for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're
exactly.
like, hey, good job.
Yeah.
We hug each
and when we
other.
get to 5,000, it gets really, really cheeky, but we won't
gets a
tell
little
people what it
cheeky.
is.
Yeah.
It gets cheeky. So that's happened twice so far.
Yep.
Let's get to that third time. 15 hundo,
We're looking
baby.
for more, basically.
15 hundo.
Looking for more.
That's right.
But yeah, so we really want to start incorporating some goals. For example, we're doing Hawkeye and we're doing Boba Fett, and we've always talked about, well, we need an editor. We might need more than one editor. We might need 2. We might need 3. So we have to kind of look at that from behind the scenes and break down the budget and say, like,
logistically,
how many episodes is that? How many episodes are we asking an editor to do?
Yeah.
What's that going to cost? Yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
So then we have to figure, okay, for a whole season to produce reactions for Book of Boba Fett, to produce reactions for Hawkeye, it's going to cost us X amount.
How many NFTs are we going to have to pay people?
Yes,
exactly.
How many Bitcoins do I have to eat to make this happen?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And how many
non-refundable tokens. That's what that means,
exactly.
right?
Yep, totally. We're going to have to make some Hector Dong tokens soon to sell as NFTs in order to boost those numbers, you know
There's
what I mean?
no coin big enough.
Dang!
Actually, that's not probably about this big.
Enough of that boring stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving's coming up.
Aw.
Yeah, it'll have already happened, I think, at this point.
Colonialism. The origins.
Bunch of white people
God.
killed a bunch of Native Americans.
Seriously.
But I want to talk about Thanksgiving.
Good for you.
And primarily because I think memories have been like a big
theme, I guess?
big theme
they have
in our
been.
shows.
You're right, yeah.
Do you guys, first of all, like Thanksgiving? Do you celebrate Thanksgiving? And do you have a favorite Thanksgiving memory?
That's a great question. Coming from a Czech household, I never understood the concept of Thanksgiving. I only knew it from school, and it was always weird to me that we celebrated it, and I feel like we only did it to fit in.
Dude,
That's
that's
interesting. Who were you trying to impress? Who were you trying to
I don't know, because no one came up with
The
Thanksgiving.
United States of America, dude.
Yeah.
President Bush?
We were trying to make sure that our green cards would last long enough.
President
I don't know.
Clinton.
I don't know.
Otherwise, they'd kick us out. You know what's funny is
Ronald
that
Reagan?
I feel like that's basically my experience as well.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was pretty normal to observe the holiday of Thanksgiving, but I also remember my parents who are from Mexico
Yeah.
pretty consistently commenting like, we don't have this in Mexico. Like
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
dumb.
yeah.
Like that kind of attitude
Totally.
of like, well, okay, like this is what everybody's doing.
Yeah,
Like what'd you do at school? You made a turkey? Okay,
Yeah.
like that
Sure.
kind of, you know,
And it's weird because we
with
So-
your hand.
Yeah, the turkey hand-
exactly.
yeah.
So for Christmas, we never changed the celebration of Christmas.
Yeah,
You know, in
right.
the United States, the 25th. The
Right.
morning, you open gifts.
Yeah.
We still do it on the 24th at night.
Yeah,
We do it-
Mexicans do it at
Yeah.
Yeah.
midnight.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do a
Christmas Eve.
dinner. We
Yep.
sing Christmas songs. We do like desserts and cookies and all that stuff.
We do posadas. We have tamales.
Oh.
We have
You
a
know why it's better?
whole thing.
You know why it's better? Because you don't. I think Mexican parents and Czech parents do that. They open the presents the night before shit because they're like, I want to sleep in
Oh yeah,
on my day off.
for sure.
They're like, I want to get the
Yeah,
kids all riled
yeah.
up and excited tonight. They can open them at 9
Make
p.m.
them sleepy and then go to bed.
Look at their Nintendo 64
Yes.
and then make them go to bed.
Yeah.
And if they stay up late, who cares? But then in the
Exactly.
morning,
Matter.
they wake up, presents are already open.
Yeah.
Everything's
I don't
done.
So
have
they
to
just
go-
play with their shit.
I don't have to go down there to
Mhm.
observe the opening ceremony. I'm asleep, and then they run downstairs and play with their toys that
Yeah.
they already opened
Right.
the night
They
before.
wake up, you
go
sleep
for
in.
it. Go
But I'm
for
talking
it.
about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have traditions? Did your family develop traditions? Given that
We-
I'm a first generation Mexican,
Yeah,
you're
same
first generation Czech, you're
Yeah.
first generation Mexican.
Yeah.
This Thanksgiving, I think it gets the shit end of the stick because everybody, as soon as Halloween's over, they're like Christmas. Don't worry about Thanksgiving.
That's
true.
It's Christmas.
Are you a big Thanksgiving guy? Do you love it?
You know what? Thanksgiving my family used any excuse to throw a big party.
Yeah.
Any
Good
excuse
food.
to throw a big party
Good
and have
food.
food, right? So
Yep.
growing up, I grew up in a neighborhood, and I was really lucky because I had 5 different sets of families that were all cousins around my
Oh.
same neighborhood.
Okay.
Mm.
I was like,
So
you
like,
had 5 different families.
well, yeah,
You
technically,
just, like
so,
a stray cat, like showing up, like, "Hey, mom and dad."
basically,
Hey, other mom and dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happened was my parents moved into a neighborhood. My uncle moved in next door. My
Got
uncle
it.
moved into another house down the street, and my uncle moved into like another house further down the
That's
street.
Do
amazing.
you have another uncle who's the realtor who set all this up? How did you do that?
I have no.
That's
Honestly, that's a good
amazing,
question.
right?
I'm gonna ask my mom.
That's either
that, how they-
super shady or
Yeah.
Or
like
super genius.
Or
or
like super
like
genius.
one
Really
realtor
efficient.
that's like
They
that gets
made
your family.
bank off
Yep.
the Rios family.
Bup.
So I was really lucky in that. So they all moved into the same neighborhood at the same time, and then they all had kids around the same time. So growing up, every single family event that I had
Yeah.
was me and like 80 cousins,
Yep.
and we all grew up like this, super tight.
Yep.
Everything that happened, we were basically siblings, like
Yeah.
everything. So Thanksgiving to me is very different because it's another excuse to hang out with my family during the holiday times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember Thanksgivings where we would just be partying in the back, dancing, running around with these kids, like
Thursday going into Friday, a little bit of
Yeah.
Saturday.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was always so much fun, and I love the holidays because those feelings are there.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that not everybody experiences it that way because not everybody had that family dynamic.
Yeah, I
like
feel like
that.
for you, it was Thanksgiving became a quinceañera, became a birthday, became
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
else.
exactly.
Yeah.
There was birthdays, there was everything that we could do. We all celebrated
Mm-hmm.
it together, and that's why, to me, Thanksgiving is like still a happy, fun time where
Mm-hmm.
people get together. We all
Yeah.
get together in one house, and all those cousins, we're still the same age,
Yeah.
and we still get to hang out. And
That's
so
awesome.
it's very different for me because it's just another Mexican party to hang out at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
right.
feel like for me, it was pretty similar. And it was also an excuse for my grandma to just cook more food.
There you go.
Yeah.
I had, if we're talking any kind of a food tradition, I don't even really remember my parents ever stressing out about getting a turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember
Yeah.
my mom,
Yeah.
or maybe my dad, or both, like, for many years, they were just kind of like, we're serving ham. And
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Is
It
it
was
easy?
We
And
did that
it's
on our
easy.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
It's easy to make
easy,
too, yeah.
And it was almost like a Christmas meal dish,
It's a
you know,
Christmas miracle.
where you just had like these nice thick slices of ham, mashed potatoes, the whole thing. But it wasn't all about like
Yeah.
the turkey tradition and the whole
Yeah.
that
Right,
kind of
right,
thing. But I think I have mostly real fond memories of nothing traumatic that I can think of, nothing negative, other than
Well,
just
that's good.
I hope
other than
not.
just
Yeah.
as you get older and you realize like, wait, what's the origins of this holiday? Oh, that's so messed up. Other
Yeah.
than that,
Yeah.
which is something that everybody just is aware of. And I think that also ties into how Columbus Day has kind of shifted to like Indigenous Peoples Day,
Absolutely.
which
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
I
I'm
think
like,
on
go
my
for
calendar,
Go
my
for it. It
calendar,
says
the
Indigenous
day
Mine
Peoples
after,
says
Day.
that too, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
What does it
Yeah.
say? Native American Heritage Day.
Yeah.
And I love
Yes.
that. Let's replace Thanksgiving with just Native American Heritage
That's what
Day.
it should be.
I've been,
Maize.
I've been following so many indigenous TikTokers recently, and it's fascinating because I don't know any Native American people personally that I know of. If you're my friend and you're Native American, let me know because I want to be better friends with you.
What do they talk about on TikTok? Are they talking about Thanksgiving?
They talk about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
They also talk about like life on the reservation, which is awesome. It's such a cool insight to see everything. Food. I've always been so curious about Native American food because I've never had any. They always talk about fry bread.
Yeah.
Like it's basically just like a fried piece of dough, but it's revered that like everybody has fry bread and everybody eats fry bread.
I never thought about that till you brought it up.
Sounds good. Fry bread.
I don't know of any Native American.
Sounds delicious.
Oh man, we need we need someone to like start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
How many Hawaiian rolls did I have the other night? I had like
6.
Dude, you ate like the whole bag.
So good.
There's also a Native American reaction channel. I forgot what their name is.
Oh, really?
So cool.
Yeah, but they're watching all of Res Dogs. They also react to all this other stuff.
Oh,
I apologize
That's awesome.
if you guys are there and are watch or whatever, or if anybody in the chat knows that channel.
You find the link, I'll put it in the description.
Yeah,
right, I'll
that's
find the
awesome.
link, put it in the description. They're fantastic. I want to, let's bump up Native American creators. If you know Native American creators, in the chat, throw them in, not in the chat, in the comments. Throw them in the comments because we need to focus on our Native American people.
I agree.
But Native American food is something that I really want to try, and I really want to see if there's any places in LA that actually sell that stuff.
You know
I
what
never thought about that, and I feel so stupid.
Yeah, you know,
I didn't think about it till recently.
You know what I have always I want to learn more about the connection between Mexican culture and Native American culture and heritage and food, and because there's this whole thing about like I feel weird because racially I think technically I'm white, but I don't feel comfortable ticking that in any kind of a form, you know, and it's weird because like whiteness is all not real anyway. Everything's a construct and it's all weird. But like Adam, you're coming from Europe where there is probably mostly white people, or it's like Europe these days is still very diverse, but it's like historically, traditionally, they're white Europeans. But then even coming to the United States and knowing a different language than English is a different experience than.
Let's be real. I told Adam this several times this weekend.
Yeah,
Adam's white.
Yeah.
Adam is not a white guy.
Right.
Adam's mannerisms are not white. Adam's beliefs are like everything Adam is and knows.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this when you said that. I'm like, is it an American thing?
Well, there's a difference between, I think, between American white and like.
There is.
Right?
You're
international
you're
white.
Czech.
Right.
You're first generation. You were
Yeah.
born directly from immigrant parents and immigrant grandparents fleeing their country for political reasons. Like the absolute,
you learned a lot from my mom while she was here, didn't you?
Yeah, the absolute like definition of an immigration, of coming from an immigrant family. That's exactly where you came from.
And this is the thing where, to me, race and ethnicity are connected, even though they're separate ideas, right? So, like, ethnically, I'm Mexican, but racially, I'm not. Racially, the categories are different. Yeah, and they're usually like white, black. Right. Native American.
Like biologically,
Asian.
what makes
like
up
what's
what
race? What race am I racially? Versus then they go ethnic group, Hispanic, and I'm like, I'm gonna click that one. And so for the race one, I always click other because I'm just like, I
don't know.
It may be incorrect, but I identify racially as non-white.
Yeah,
but I'm not black, and I'm not saying I'm black.
Right.
I'm not even the closest approximation, I guess, would be because my family from Mexico have European people in their family, but they also have Mexican Indian people, native Mexican people. So the closest,
and your skin shows that.
Right. I am physically brown-ish, but still technically racially white. So it's this weird thing. And I don't feel like I at all can also apply under Native American racially, right? Because again, that's a separate thing than any kind of a racial history that I have in my family from Mexico. But I want to know what those similarities are, what the connections are. There's still all these really interesting dynamics even in Mexico. You can see it in Mexican media, television, movies, same as the United States.
Yeah.
people coming from Spain who speak Spanish.
Right.
Movie stars. They're on TV. They're on, and they're usually lighter, fairer skinned, beautiful,
They talk like this.
Yeah, and it's so funny because it's just that sort of same
Oh my God.
Eurocentric standards of beauty, and you will rarely see darker skinned people even on Mexican TV, even though majority of the country looks like that and is less diverse than, say, the United States, less of a melting pot. Like, there are black Mexicans, there are Asian Mexicans, there are, of course, everybody's everywhere around the world, but those populations are going to be smaller than if you go to a place like the U.S. So, so I have only seen the first episode of Res Dogs, and it was
good.
awesome.
Yeah,
and
you showed it to me. Yeah.
I need to go and watch the rest of that show,
It's so funny.
but I always feel like I want to know more about my own family.
Well, here's something that I learned. By the way, I'm obsessed with TikTok. You guys know this.
Oh yeah,
you're all about it.
But I've learned so much. So they were talking to one Native American elder, and he was like, "So we talk about California belonging to Mexico. Apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there, but apparently California only belonged to Mexico for 19 years. Who did it belong to beforehand?
Native American tribes.
Yep. So Mexican people or people who were native to the Mexican land, and back then that border didn't exist. So the people who were in the USA were also native tribes that were theoretically in Mexico as well. So it's all like one big melting pot. So I don't know. It's a very good question that I don't know how to answer that.
There are some people, and it's usually, to me, it's kind of like, for better or worse, the sort of most privileged people who can trace their lineage back to. Anytime I read about somebody that's like, oh, they trace their lineage back to Benjamin Franklin, I'm like, there's some racist people in that family. How can you keep track of that? How does somebody,
where's the ledger?
Who has the money to keep track of that? Where I feel like most people, maybe in my like socioeconomic,
Bubble,
level. Are not going to be able to go that further back, even with Ancestry.com or whatever. Because at some point it just gets into like dark-skinned Mexicans in my family, just like poor Mexican people.
And this is where Adam's immigrant story is very different. Because do you know much about your family past your grandpa?
I actually don't.
Yeah.
And I have been wanting to learn so much more, and I need to figure out like how to do that.
Are you a CzechXican prince?
I actually did find out from my grandma.
Are you a boy Anastasia?
I actually did find out from my grandma that her grandmother or her grandfather or great grandfather owned a brewery in Czech.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
And they like lived on the grounds. And apparently
people.
Apparently it was like not a castle, but it was a very nice house.
And it's apparently like there's like sunken treasure under there.
Yeah.
And apparently if you stay the night, you can like find the treasure. I don't know.
And apparently
we got to go on an adventure, boys.
Apparently it's still a brewery, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the one thing that my mom said when she was here, which was really interesting, which even I feel like sometimes you don't really know what to call home.
Yeah.
Right.
Because when she's in Europe visiting Czech, she left when she was 11. No, she was 10.
Yeah.
She left when she was 10.
Does she feel like an outsider there?
So so she was only there for 10 years of her life, even though she went to school there for a few years. But still, when she goes back, she feels kind of disconnected because she hasn't lived there in so long.
Yeah.
But then when she comes to the United States and has lived here, she's not American. She's Czech. So there's like this disconnect where you're like, well, which one is my home? Neither one or the other, but also both.
Right.
And even I feel that.
Absolutely.
As someone who, despite being born in the United States, going to school for the majority of my life in the United States, but growing up with like Czech culture,
such
living
strong
there,
ties to being Czech.
Exactly. Living there and going to school there for a few years. Even I'm sometimes like, when I go to Czech, I feel disconnected because I haven't been there in so long. Like when we went on our trip, when I talk to people, I'm very nervous to talk to people because I have the reading and writing comprehension and vocabulary
of an infant,
of a second grader.
Okay,
right.
So I don't know all the advanced words.
Yeah.
And because I only speak to mostly my grandma in Czech, sometimes my mom, I don't use it a lot. So I start to forget certain words, or I start to forget how to piece sentences together.
Yeah.
And that is hugely problematic for me.
Absolutely.
So when I go, like when we went, I did speak English a lot, mostly because I was like, what are the words?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
And it's super frustrating. So
Yeah.
for my mom, in that
feel you,
regard,
buddy.
it's a little easier.
Do you guys ever think about like any future generations and how with technology being what it is and everybody getting online kind of with our generation that it's going to be so easy for them to keep track of that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Whereas
absolutely.
like I'm like I don't know if my family existed before 1970. I'm like I
Right.
don't know.
So
like where were they?
I don't know
no
how
idea.
true this is, but my uncle told me a story of a great uncle or great grandpa that I had that was a protector of the town.
That's
This
so
freaking
cool.
family
What?
superhero, and apparently he defended the town from people. And there is a set of revolvers that he had somewhere.
You better get these
And
things.
I'm just like,
That's the coolest
bro,
thing ever.
like, oh
But
my,
also-
I need to find these things.
Also,
but how do I make sure it's legit?
I know that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's
Yeah.
like it could also just be a great story.
It could be bullshit.
Like
Yeah.
if we tried that with if we ever had kids or people that were in our family, like nephews or nieces or whatever, and we try to tell them like my buddy Adam Lavick, you
Yeah.
should defend the town. They'd be
Right,
like,
right.
bullshit. He's on Facebook.
yeah.
I
you know what I mean?
I
It'd
got
be
8
like-
years of his YouTube
Yeah,
history.
yeah.
What are you talking about? He spent all of his all his time in his room editing.
He was a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Uncle Hector, like
Yeah.
you're full of crap. Like so.
Well, and I
you
think
know,
that's the big
right.
difference for like us because
Yeah.
we are on the internet.
Yeah.
We have literally living documentation of who we are.
right.
And I think we've talked about this at one point that like our great grandkids, unless everything that's currently happening is lost through history,
Forever, yeah.
they will literally be able to go to youtube.com and find their
Yeah.
27th great grandfather on the internet talking about bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me.
Or when we were coming up and Facebook became a thing, I really thought I'm gonna have a Facebook forever.
Yeah.
And Facebook will be it would be the beginning of like future tech forever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now I hope that Facebook closes in
Dies
like soon.
forever.
Like
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
But even if it does, like I forget who I was talking to. I don't know if it was one of you guys, but I think it may have been one of you guys where you're like, oh, you could just go somewhere and save all your photos on Facebook before you close your account.
Mhm.
So even if websites like YouTube don't exist 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years from now,
Yeah.
there'll be some form of archiving
Right.
that is
Yeah.
so easy because it's literally coding people just going beep boop, that's
Yeah.
archived.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. That's super
I think
cool.
it's
It'll
way
be a
cool.
zip file for each of us and it'll
Yeah.
all have all the videos.
Like our entire
Yeah.
lives would
Yeah.
just
Man.
be presented there. I think it's a really cool concept, and I also am hoping. I'm really sad that I can't see that day. Like
Yeah.
I really wish I could see what the tech is like 100 years from now.
Maybe
if
maybe
humans
they'll figure
survive.
out how to Arnhem Zola us and upload our consciousness to a computer.
How dope would that be?
Oh my
Do you
God.
think they would put us together in
Depends.
like
I don't
whatever
know.
the
Just
future of-
virtually project us in
whatever
a
the
room.
future of YouTube is?
Three heads,
just
God.
like
three heads in a jar.
these guys were the greatest YouTube commenters ever, so here they are again.
What's up, homies? Welcome back to another Heroes Reforged, and we're just in a corner of a museum.
right.
People are like, "Shut up!" And we're like, "Hey guys,
These guys are dumb.
Hey guys, we're here to react to Spider-Man: Home Again, the 67th entry in the."
Yeah.
Oh my God. Here's a follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
If you had the option,
Mhm.
would you be born in the past? Any year, any particular past?
No.
Keep it the way it was? Or would you prefer to be born in the future?
Okay,
Ugh.
here's a follow-up question to that. Would I still be brown in the past? Because if I'm brown in the past,
Right.
that's no bueno.
Yeah.
And am I a
Yeah.
ghost just observing, or am I like I'm stuck in this life?
Yeah, like
What are the
like,
parameters here?
What body am I in?
Yeah, like am I
Yeah.
a living being that I have to live out the rest of my life in that era?
I would say
as
yes.
a brown man,
Mhm.
then fuck the past.
Yeah.
I ain't going nowhere back
because even best case scenario for me,
right.
like pick a year in the past that you're thinking of. Just name a year.
Let's say 1350.
Spanish Inquisition,
Holy
gotcha.
shit, 1350. That's the U.S. isn't even a thing. All right,
No, I'm talking about
really
far back. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really
Far,
screwed.
far
Okay,
back, yeah.
So
Yeah.
either I'm like chilling with Native Americans. That could be cool. In
You
1350.
could, yeah.
And I'm like making my way over towards where LA is, and I'll be like, this will be Los Angeles.
This will be San Hector.
and people and other like Native Americans will be like, dude, what are you talking about?
yeah.
The Comic-Con will be over here.
Yeah.
You don't know about Comic Con?
Or
Yeah, Hector's going to invent comics.
Yeah.
I
I
had
know.
traveled to Europe, and like I wish I knew history enough to be able to pull some reference. 1350. What's
Yeah.
happening?
I don't know
in
what was going on.
What's
in
happening in 1350?
Look what's going on, and
The
throw
only
another
reason
date at
the
me.
only reason I picked 1350 was because I know that that's around the time they started building the Charles Bridge. And I would love to be alive around the time that whole Austro-Hungarian Empire was like formed and figuring out like what was going on, how was everything divided, what was the life like.
Interesting.
Because I know from when we went to the cathedral, St. Vitus Cathedral, when you were Rick Steving us, you were telling us how Prague was like a huge port city, and it was like one of the major cities where they would come and do trades, and it was like the place to get everything.
Did they have glasses back then?
I'm sure. No, I don't think
eyeglasses?
so.
I think so.
In 1350?
I don't know. So.
I have no idea.
I think so.
Don't ask me about history.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think so.
Here's the other scary thing. If the scenario is, could you magically time travel to 1350 temporarily and then come back?
Sure.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Right.
But to tell me, Hector, you're born in 1350 or a little bit before that.
Yeah.
With your health and your vision, I'm dead,
God.
bro. I'm dead by 23. Are you kidding me? I'm falling into the river in Prague because I can't see shit, and I'm dead.
Yeah.
So my answer is going to skew more towards I would want to be in the future. But then again, if you tell me, Hector, you could either be born the year you were born, 100 years before or 100 years after.
Yeah.
If I pick 100 years
question.
after,
Yeah.
if I pick 100 years after and I'm born in 2087, then I'm not the same guy.
Right.
And in 2087, I don't know what the world is going to be or how I will be shaped.
Right.
But I probably won't be born and at 5 years old watching Spider-Man and Batman cartoons.
You'll have a very different experience.
And I'll have different priorities. So it's like
What if you became a president?
The president of the future?
Yeah.
The president of Earth.
In 2000, if I'm born in 2087... and by then the laws changed to where anybody any age could be president.
So by like 2034, you'd be president probably?
2134?
Oh, 2134.
Being president is not the glamorous job that they told us it was.
Unless they change it from here to then.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Unless I'm like President Camacho from Idiocracy. I don't think I'd want to be President Camacho. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay. President of Marvel Studios?
Yeah. There you go.
I'll take that.
I don't know.
To
kind of skew your question, Adam, because my answer is future for sure.
Yeah.
But I wish I could have time-traveling, time-lapse powers. So I would like to go back in time.
No way, dude. Too powerful.
And but I'm a ghost. I can't interact with anything.
Oh, just to see it?
I can't change
interfere.
anything. I would like to go back and observe as a ghost, like the rise and fall of the Egyptian Empire, the rise and fall of the Aztec Empire, the Mayas, when LA was built, when Chicago was built, when New York was built, like all that cool stuff, when Prague was built. Because I'd like to observe it more like a video game.
Yeah.
Where like people are just like, oh, it's built up and then it falls. And
have you heard of Assassin's Creed? I think you just described Assassin's Creed. I think you could actually do that with the game Assassin's Creed.
I don't want to.
You're not wrong.
I
plus
want
you kill
to
people.
see it. I don't want to
plus
kill
you can
anybody.
Jump into hay, dude.
Do that.
Cool
jump into hay
with the
cool
eagle
as
off
hell.
of any height.
Oh my
You'll
God.
land into a bale of hay and be safe.
Oh my God.
Eagle powers.
Eagle powers.
I think that would be
Oh my
cool.
God.
Time travel it scares the shit out of me, but
Yeah.
these are all great questions. I have one for you guys.
Yeah.
This is I'm gonna make it a little bit less like potentially timeline shattering. So here it is.
I don't want to shatter any more timelines.
If you could visit or transfer over and be stuck in and live in any fictional universe.
Star Wars.
Really, dude?
Oh,
Dang,
yeah.
you didn't even finish the question.
Bro.
What if he said, but you have a massive case of hemorrhoids
Star Wars.
and you have a second head growing
and
out
you
of
live
Star
on
Wars.
you live on Tatooine.
And you live on
Here's the
Star
thing.
Wars.
Let's break this down because
Yeah.
Star Wars is a horrible choice.
No.
And I'll tell you why. I didn't say you were going to be a Jedi.
That's fine.
I didn't say you had midichlorians in the
That's
Force.
fine.
You're just a regular person.
That's okay.
And normally speaking, in the Star Wars universe,
You're a YouTuber in the Star Wars universe.
well, then that might mean you're still living on Coruscant,
Yeah.
which could be cool. Like,
But
what
then
is?
you would die because they blew it up.
No, Coruscant
No.
survives.
Oh, wait. What was the other one that they blew up? Princess Leia's planet.
Alderaan.
Oh, Alderaan. Never
yeah.
mind.
You find
Never
yourself on Alderaan? Get
Yeah,
the
what if
hell
you were on
off that
Alderaan?
planet?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be scary?
That would be terrifying.
Yeah, I'd be like, Jimmy Smits, we gotta go.
Wait, the fuck out!
Hey, get your wife. I've never seen her. No one's ever seen her.
Was she
I think we
real?
saw her one time. I think we did see her.
I think so.
Maybe in a deleted
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We got to bounce. Yeah.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
With knowledge of your
yes,
universe,
that's
though?
the thing. That's the thing. So here's the scenario.
But you had no power to change it.
Either you, well, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. Either you visit it, or you stay there forever. What would you want to do? Let's actually like lay the groundwork for this impossible wish. Ignore for a second that Adam said Star Wars. Ignore whatever your answer would be. But let's just talk about the scenario.
Okay.
Should it be you visit there, or that you have to stay there and live there for the rest of your life? What do you think it should be?
If it's visit, it might change my answer.
Okay.
Yeah,
but if it's stay and live, it might also change your answer.
It will
So
definitely
let's
change my answer.
let's say that it's going to be stay and live. So this is hardcore.
Right,
So this is like, maybe you will have to leave behind your loved ones, and that's the saddest part. Let's not get too deep into that, but that's the scenario. Okay, that's what's up. So now, knowing that, it's a thing where it's not like you're born there and you grow up there, but you wake up tomorrow and you're there. So you have all the knowledge you have all the prior life experience from our Earth, our reality, and you hop over there and you're like, this is not a real, or maybe it is now because now I'm living in it, but like, this is some crazy dream and I guess I'm stuck here, and using the knowledge that I have, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What fictional universe would you want to be stuck in? And keep in mind, what's your goal? Are you trying to have a good life? Are you trying to go on adventures? Are you trying to get back home? Are you trying to, like, whatever you want to do?
And really quickly, are we any sort of main
physically
character?
Perfect? We're physically
Are
perfect.
we any sort of main character in this world?
You're Agustin.
You're okay. I'm me.
Unless you pick like My Little Pony, then I guess you'll be a pony version of Agustin. You know what I'm saying? You're not a human freak who all of a sudden everyone's like, "What are you? You don't belong in the Smurfs or whatever." You would be Agustin the human, Adam, Hector. That's who we would be.
Interesting.
As you're thinking on that, I want to continue to make fun of Adam for his pick. Star Wars is the worst one because
wait, would you still be Star Wars with all those parameters?
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Here's the other deal too. I'm not going to say like it would be this time period or this time period or this time period. I just want to put it out there as sort of like, what do you think we would all consider to be the most normal or average Star Wars time period? It's probably the Rebellion. It's probably around New Hope, right?
Yeah.
That's probably like the most normal, safe bet. And would you be a Jedi? Would you not be a Jedi? I don't know. But a normal human existence in Star Wars could range from, hey, you're living on a planet and wars
You're
happening.
either an Uncle Owen or a Yoda.
Yeah.
Anything in
like,
between.
Yeah, and you could be a moisture farmer out on the
Yeah.
outer rim and poor, and it's a hard life. Or you could be living, like I said, on Coruscant, and there's still war happening, but like maybe it doesn't affect you as much. So knowing that you're going to fall somewhere in there, you could be a Jedi. I don't know. You could wake up tomorrow and you're like, oh, snap, I'm the next.
I have midichlorians.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not going to take that away. I'm not going to say you can't be a Jedi.
Yeah.
But if you were to hop over there, knowing it could be really tough, what would you do, Adam? What would you do?
I mean, I guess whether or not I am force sensitive would obviously change a lot.
Yeah.
Assuming I am not.
But here's the thing. We all agreed it would be a New Hope era, right?
Yeah.
So there's no Jedi temple for you to go to, bro.
Yeah.
There isn't.
Either way, you'd be on your own. But at least you know what you could kind of do.
Right. So if it is the original trilogy era, let's say I am force sensitive.
Sure. Sweet. What color lightsaber? Just
winning
kidding.
the lottery.
I would say that I wouldn't even have that.
Yeah, right.
You know, I wouldn't have any of that.
Like they're all like destroyed, or General Grievous got them all, or what? Like there's no more left.
The one positive thing of like the Disney era is that we've come to learn that there are actually a lot of surviving Jedi out there.
Right.
So
you just have to wait until Luke finds you.
Yeah, or you have to.
That's actually cool.
That's actually cool. Yeah,
it's that, or you have to be a very self-motivated person to try to go out there and find your people.
Here's the other thing: you can change things.
You can change things.
If Luke finds you, what's the first thing you're telling him? You watch yourself with Ben. You watch yourself with little Ben.
You could change the whole course of history.
Hey, don't get mad at him. Don't get mad at him.
Yeah.
You're going to see a vision. Don't doubt him. You know, and because if you doubt him, and then I'll just explain to him The Last Jedi. Like I'll tell him, you're not going to believe me, Master Luke. I'm from another reality. Yeah, Ben's a good kid.
The Rise of Skywalker, the title like shifts and becomes The Rise of the Jedi.
The Rise of Adam is what it would be called.
Right.
It would be called The Adam Awakens.
The Knights of Adam.
The Last Adam. Yeah, the Knights of Adam, but they're all good.
but they're all good
Like
guys.
Yeah.
Snoke shows up and you immediately are like, we got to take this guy out.
He's out. He's done.
He's out.
done.
And you're like, somehow Palpatine returned. And everyone's
Yeah.
like, what, how? And you're like, somehow.
Somehow.
He's around here somewhere. And then
Yeah.
you just go, we got to go to Exegol. And people are like, what even is that
Just
planet?
blow it up, bro.
Dude,
Just
you
blow
would
it
just
up.
be,
You
you would
don't
just
even
be
know, bro.
crushing it
See
in
that
Star
little
Wars,
star?
dude.
Take it out.
You would
Take it
just be
out.
crushing
I'd make
it.
Poe Dameron look like a bitch.
That's true.
Oh, I couldn't be a pilot.
Single.
No way, dude.
No.
I
It's
would
too much
be
steel.
I would be the strategist. I would be like a Leia. I would be a diplomat.
I think that's my
Yeah.
big thing about Star Wars is
Yeah.
it would be too exciting to turn down
Adventure.
the opportunity to adventure, but to pilot starships through space.
Yeah.
I see.
That
Yeah.
So,
above being a
okay.
Jedi, like being a Jedi would be amazing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
to
yeah.
have that ability to be able to wield the lightsaber would be so cool.
Do you think it
But
would
to
be
pilot through space.
you think you would be just as happy if you were basically like a space trucker, just hauling stuff
Yeah.
back and forth from different
Yeah, Han
but
Solo's
I
life is
feel like
pretty
based
cool.
on my personality,
Yeah.
I would always like crave more,
Mm.
but not to a point where it would be harmful to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It sounds like Anakin to me.
Well, you
Sounds
never
like
know.
you got some
Maybe I
Anakin
become Darth
tendencies,
Vader.
buddy.
Whoa.
You got some Anakin tendencies
Darth
there, buddy.
check.
Whoa.
I think I sense some real danger in your
Darth
future.
Potato Salad is
There
here.
you go. There you go. Darth check. Yeah.
Augustine, have you thought about your answer?
Yeah, and I kind of want to go with like a safe but exciting option.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is just going to be because it's
I
my
hope you
favorite
say the
fandom,
sewers
but
of New
it's,
York.
It's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say
Oh,
because there's
yeah.
so
I knew you were
many
gonna say it.
options.
Okay, so
I could be
again,
born into any race.
that's true. But what is maybe the most normal kind
A
of?
hobbit. A hobbit.
You
They
think?
have no powers.
Aren't there
All they
more?
want to do is eat.
Aren't there more humans than hobbits in the?
There's more
in the,
humans
in the
than
Middle Earth
hobbits.
world. Yeah.
But humans they're just like humans in real life. Like
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
wants and desires and all this stuff, and that's fine.
Yeah.
They ride horses. They're
You'd ma-
great
you'd
warriors.
make a good hobbit.
I think I'd make a good hobbit. I think I'd make a better dwarf. I'm
Yeah.
built like a dwarf.
You would like
I'm
Iron
stuck.
Forge.
Yeah.
A drum
I
set.
like to make stuff with my hands. I like
Yeah,
to work
yeah.
with my hands. I think I'd be a good hobbit or I'd be a good dwarf.
You would
Mainly
create
a good dwarf.
an engine motorcycle and just
Exactly.
Oh, that would be
Oh,
amazing.
Exactly.
bring electricity to Middle Earth.
Right.
That would be
I
so
would
cool.
run it off some gem-powered
Oh.
like little engine or whatever.
Yeah, the
Uh,
engine stone.
The engine stone, exactly. But yeah, I think that would be my fan, and because it's my favorite fandom, and because I know a
Wow.
lot about it,
yeah.
I feel like that would be a good one. But also, like Adam's right, like knowing that Ninja Turtles exist.
Yeah.
like I would be stalking the sewers, just like
If
living
you-
in my
yeah.
shitty apartment in New York,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
I saw a guy come out of that thing and he looked like a turtle.
So wait.
133 and
So
an
wait.
8.
Yeah.
Where you at?
So you're saying that like if this all happens to us, magical wishes, and Adam wakes up tomorrow and he's in the Star Wars galaxy, you wake up tomorrow, but you pick the universe where Ninja Turtles exist.
Mhm.
You're just waking up here in LA tomorrow, and you're like, how are things different? And you
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
like go
You gotta go
online
to New York.
or
Like,
look at
what is
Twitter.
going on?
He's got to put on the Ninja Turtles podcast.
Remember the Turtles podcast we talked about in episode
That you
1?
pitched?
You don't remember that.
No, I don't.
Hello.
Remember
I have
that.
a terrible memory.
We got to go
That the
rewind the
turtles-
tape,
that
Adam.
the turtles
Rewind the tape.
themselves put out into the universe.
Exactly.
Yeah, so then you see it in your feed, you're like, oh shit, are these guys real?
Right.
And then you
I
go
would
to New
be
York
obsessed
to try to
with
And then the
finding
music
to
them.
starts
see
playing.
him.
Dun, dun,
And
dun,
I would be.
dun,
It would be
dun,
to the
dun,
point
dun,
where I would
dun,
find
dun,
them and
dun,
April O'Neil myself in.
Yes,
To,
into
and
the
be the
Avengers.
guy on the couch for the turtles. That's who I would be, the guy on the couch for the turtles.
Oh. And you would have some knowledge of like, hey,
Yeah.
I know about Oroku Saki.
Yeah.
I know about Hamato Yoshi.
Dimension X.
People would be like, the
I know
turtles would
about
be
Krang.
like, how do you know about that stuff, dude?
Bro, I've been studying you for decades.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
I
pretty
know
good.
about Professor Baxter, like all of it. All of it.
That's
so
good. So you could-
I think
That'd be
with
fun.
your question, there's a certain amount of you becoming a character or the main character in that story.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because
and how would you do it?
If
I guess it is.
jumped into
Yeah.
that universe,
Yeah.
just like I'm attracted to like superheroes or motorcycles or mountain bikes or whatever, I would be attracted to that thing.
Yeah.
That thing, whatever it is, and I wouldn't necessarily become the main character, but I would definitely play a part in that story,
Yeah.
and I want to be a part of
You
the
would-
Ninja Turtles
You
story.
would become people's favorite supporting character.
Hell
when they
yeah,
read
bro!
The
I'd be
comic,
the Ned.
Yeah.
You would just kick Casey Jones out and be like, nah,
I'd be
better.
such a good Ned.
People in our reality would be reading the New Ninja Turtles comic, and they're like, "This month we're introducing a brand new character, Agustin Rios. He'll be everyone's favorite." And people just
He rides a motorcycle and he cooks pizza.
Yeah,
Where's
exactly.
Casey Jones? This Mexican guy just shows up.
Don't worry about that guy. Don't worry
He
about
cooks
that guy.
fresh pizzas for the turtles and rides a bike.
Right.
I'm gonna pick a dorky answer.
It's either going to be MCU or Star Trek.
I think the
It's gonna be
safest
Star
bet.
Trek.
Well, here's the thing.
Strap in.
With Marvel, if you pick Marvel or DC, you get a couple of things with it. There is a 100% guarantee that there is an afterlife. In that we don't have that guarantee. The superhero universes have that guarantee. I'm talking about Valhalla. I'm talking about there is an afterlife. So there's this amazing thing knowing that you're kind of going to be eternal. You're going to not an eternal, but like you will in some way exist forever. And because those superhero universes have a sliding timeline, like you kind of maybe won't age, but it won't feel like that. Anyway, that's some weird metaphysical shit. But number two about a superhero universe is if you pick like Marvel Comics universe, I could probably go and hang out for as long as I want, but then go to Reed Richards and be like, can you port me over to my universe and find a way back?
Yeah.
You can't do that shit with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that with Star Wars.
They
have not done those kinds of stories. Marvel and DC do it all the time. But
so you're talking multiverse shenanigans and multi-time travel shenanigans.
Potentially.
Basically,
again, there's a great comic book called Marvel 1985. I don't know if you guys have ever read it. That's essentially this premise. Mark Miller, who did Civil War and Old Man Logan, wrote this book based on how his older brother traumatized him when he was a kid. So when he was a little kid, and this is also where Civil War came from. This is also kind of where the comic book Wanted came from. When he was a kid, he asked his older brother. He looked up to him and he was like, "How come there's no superheroes like in our real world?" And do you know what the older brother said? He looked him in the eyes and he goes, "Because all the supervillains got together and killed them all and brainwashed everybody and made us lose our memory over the superheroes."
Dang,
wow.
That's wretched.
Little Mark Miller was like, "What?"
That's
and
that'd be a genius concept for a show.
That is Wanted.
Never mind.
If you read that comic book, the movie is kind of different. They didn't go full bore superhero comic book villains and stuff, but that's what happens in the comic book Wanted. And this is how messed up this is. The main character, who is modeled after Eminem, looks like him, learns that he's just kind of like a slacker. He learns that his father was actually a supervillain that had like perfect aim, kind of like a Deadshot or a Bloodsport or whatever. Sharpshooter, like perfect aim, like Hawkeye or Bullseye. And he dies, but he was part of a secret supervillain organization, kind of like, the Injustice League or the Legion of Doom or whatever. So he ends up joining it, and then through that story, there's a moment where the villains of that world that are kind of like the Joker and kind of like Lex Luthor, all of a sudden just have a strung up person in their underwear who's kind of overweight with like a thing over their head, like a leather, like a knapsack or whatever. And it's him and another guy, and they're supposed to be the out of shape actors from a 1960s cartoony superhero, catchy, kitschy, campy show. They're Adam West and Burt Ward. And then the premise being they were actually Batman and Robin, but the supervillains used all their powers and resources to make everyone on Earth think that it was a campy show, and they made them think, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, that they're out of shape actors. And there's even a very messed up reference to the greatest hero. They made him think that he was paralyzed from the neck down. It's Christopher Reeve, Superman. And it's this,
that's just a very depressing way of looking at real life, man. Dude. That's so messed
but it's also like Mark Miller, kind of a love letter of him saying, like, listen, when I was growing up, Christopher Reeve was Superman, Superman. Adam West and Burt Ward were my heroes. Linda Carter, that these people that he was looking up to when he was a kid. So then that's what happens in Wanted. Civil War is also about. Well, no, not Civil War. Old Man Logan. You remember Old Man Logan? Where the future is all the superheroes are wiped out. Why? Because they all got together one night. Yeah. And remember Mysterio made Wolverine think he was killing bad guys.
And he killed everybody.
All came from this childhood trauma. I completely lost my train of thought.
Hector, your universe is absolutely depressing.
Well, what I was going to say was...
Fuck your universe.
If you pick Marvel...
you survive the snap
from a guy who's always very hopeful.
Oh, here's what I was going to say. Now I remember.
Hector's
I know.
like, no. I'm going to the
So,
MCU.
check out
I'm going
this.
to the MCU, but
I
nobody
remembered.
exists.
I remembered. You guys took me down that wanted path, and it's real dark. But this same writer, he wrote Marvel 1985.
Okay.
And in this book, it is about the Marvel Universe circa the year 1985. So Spider-Man has his black costume. She-Hulk is on the Fantastic Four. Like, it is Marvel of the 80s. And it takes place in our world in the year 1985 about a kid who's reading comics. He starts seeing some characters around town in like abandoned houses or whatever, and it's like the Vulture or Stiltman or the Red Skull. And he's like, these are Marvel villains. It turns out they're encroaching into our reality from their universe, and they're going to take over. And he's able to this little kid pops over into the Marvel universe, and he goes straight to the Baxter building and can't get a hold of anybody. And then he goes straight to the Daily Bugle. And he just asks to see photographer Peter Parker. And he's like, okay. And then he goes up to the roof and meets him. And the kid's trying to tell him, you won't believe me, but I'm from a place where like you're a comic book character. I know everything about you. I know you're Peter. I know you're Spider-Man. And Peter's like, kid, I'm not Spider-Man. I don't know what you're talking about, because he's trying to keep the.
Of course.
And I think the kid jumps off the building.
Yeah.
Because he's like, the only way I can prove this, like, I know you're going to save me. And he jumps off the Daily Bugle, I think, and then Spider-Man, of course, saves him. But
This is
it's
the
like,
most Hector thing I've ever
right?
heard.
But he convinces Spider-Man that
These
like,
are the dreams that Hector has.
yeah, and it's this beautiful childhood sort of fantasy of him being able to, and then he like brings all the superheroes over into our universe, and then
That's
they
cool.
fight, and it's a beautiful little story.
That's
It's actually
a Hector movie waiting to happen.
it's super positive. It feels like Super 8. It really feels
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
80s
Yeah.
Amblin style,
Yeah.
kids on bikes thing.
Absolutely.
So anyway, you can pick Marvel and do that, and decide I'm gonna go to the Baxter Building. Or if you pick DC,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the Batcave. Just like Terry McGinnis, like, Mr. Wayne, I know who you are. Let me see the Batcave, and
Yeah.
you will not get in. But
Right,
just continually like being like, I can help you solve
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
crimes. Like, I know who these people are. But then
I think in all of these answers though, there leads to a point where you become involved
Mhm.
in the
Oh,
bigger
you have to be, I
story.
feel like.
I think eventually for you, Adam,
Yeah.
in your Star Wars universe,
yeah,
you would want to lead yourself towards like a Han Solo life or
Yeah.
the life of a Jedi or something.
oh,
like
you would
that.
befriend Luke
Exactly.
and Leia and Han.
Yeah.
You would
100%.
hang out with those people, or you,
hang out
Hector,
with Lando.
you would definitely become Ned. You would
Yeah.
100% become
Yep.
Ned.
Or like a Phil Coulson, or like
Yeah,
But here's
or
the other
somebody.
thing I was thinking about. If you pick a superhero universe and you want to move to New York, you might get killed just because it's so like
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
that's
gonna have
the-
to live
that's-
in like Idaho.
yeah, and even
But
then,
also, there's like no guarantee that you're
Yeah.
just not going to get sick and die.
that's
you
true.
know?
And so I was thinking about best quality of life, with no sort of expectations or whatever, and I'm like, it's got to be Star Trek. Because in the Star Trek world, even if you don't want to go live on a ship, you could live on Earth where there is no money, no famine, no war. Every country is united and cool with each other. You can just go to Starfleet and learn stuff, or you can just like live a chill life and kick back wherever you are. Like, you can go to Prague and you could do that. Or if you wanted to see space, you could go into space. It's free. You join Starfleet. You study, you learn things, you better yourself. And
I
be a
changed
part
my
of
answer.
and be a part of a
I
ship.
changed my answer to Star Trek.
And medicine is also like, if you've ever seen an old Star
I
Trek
changed
movie,
my answer
like
to Star Trek.
like when the characters travel back to the 1980s to save whales
Yeah.
in Star Trek 4 The Voyage Home, like Dr. McCoy visits a hospital, and there's like a sick woman. She's like, oh, my kidneys or whatever. And he just goes, my God, man. And he just goes, woo, 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 woo. And she like grows a kidney. Do you know what I'm saying? Like medicine is
but that sounds amazing.
medicine
And
is
that
so
sounds-
advanced that like
Like if I was just a normal dude, that's where I would want to be.
it's good quality of life.
It's you can do whatever you want. I
Yeah.
dream of that every day. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I wish I could just go and didn't have to work, just go and do whatever I
Yep.
wanted.
Maybe someday.
You're right. That's the boring answer, but
Yeah,
that is the
but
good
it's like
answer.
but it's like
that's
the
like
safest.
the safe
yeah.
answer.
Yeah,
I think I changed my
I guess I'll have to
answer.
figure out how to
Secret
pop over
answer.
from Coruscant to Earth.
I know. There's been
in the Star Trek
Technically,
universe.
aren't they in the same universe? Like,
No.
isn't that in the?
there's never been an official. I'll also say this: there's never been an official crossover, but there has been Star Trek and Marvel crossovers. So like some of these franchises have done some shenanigans. There's like a Green Lantern Star Trek crossover, so that's
Yeah.
kind of, that's
Okay.
that's an entry point
Look
there.
at how
so like
excited you get for that.
but
Chimama.
there's been no way to bring in Star Wars or Middle Earth, not yet. They're so
It's
closed off.
okay. I like my little fandom living
Yeah.
in its own because it's
Yeah.
not toxic. So
You know what? In case this does happen to you tomorrow, Adam, you need to know this. The closest there is to that is there is a fake, not real, not canon, little mini comic where Han Solo and Chewbacca, Millennium Falcon, punch through to some other galaxy, I guess, crash land on a planet. It's Earth, circa 1913 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then years later, and they crash land in the Pacific Northwest. And then years later, in like 1939, Indiana Jones is excavating and investigating people saying that there's like a Bigfoot up there. And
it's Chewie.
And it's Chewie.
Yeah.
But he doesn't find Chewie. He just finds the wreckage of the Millennium Falcon and goes inside and he sees a skeleton with the vest. So it's Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, seeing the skeleton of Han Solo, Harrison Ford. And then as he's leaving, some Native American people are talking about there being a Sasquatch, and it's Chewie because he could live,
200 years.
So if you wake up in the Star Wars
that'd be fucking
universe,
amazing.
And people have used that to actually add a year to every year in Star Wars because they're like, okay, well, if this happened in this time when Han was this age,
lands in the PNW.
Yeah, if he lands in 1913, then that means that a long time ago was only about 70 years ago or some bullshit.
Oh my God!
People have figured it out.
That's too much. That's too much.
That's too
Okay.
sexy.
Sorry,
Too
guys.
sexy.
That's too much of a tangent. Too much.
Let's we've rambled on for almost an hour. But there's some fan questions.
That's how we do things around here.
There's some what are these from Discord or
These are from Patreon.
These
are from Patreon,
questions. Okay.
So our first question, if you guys are ready, comes from Matt.
I don't know. I kind of want to think about Han Solo.
Someone needs to make that into a short film. that would be pretty amazing.
Fun, no, I'm
animated.
Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah.
Our first question comes from Matt Ilagan, who says, I want to show a little extra love to Agustin and ask him a question. We all know what Hector and Adam do for jobs. What is it that you do exactly? And how did you come to work there from a visual effects background? Was the transition hard, or did the skills you acquired help you in your current job?
Both. I currently, so my official title is an instructional designer, and I help faculty in college use the learning management system. This is fucking boring. I'm already fucking bored. Learn how to use their learning management system to teach better. So the way I got this job was extremely lucky. I owe everything to my wife and my friend, who actually got me this gig because they needed somebody who knew how to record and edit videos.
There you go.
Because the faculty were looking...
God, thank God you do this bullshit.
Bingo bongo, like I'm right here, right? So I was like, look, I've been a VFX artist for 7.5 years. I got my degree in animation. Like, I know how to do this stuff. And so, yeah, it's not an exciting day job. Pays the bills, and I'm very fortunate to have it, very lucky to have it, and I am moving forward in that trajectory. But I'm very lucky that it gives me the time to spend time hanging out with you guys. Mm-hmm. And I still get to edit and create videos, even though it's not YouTube content.
Yeah.
But I still get to help people who are very excited about my skills that I have. Even though I'm not the best. I'm not the best editor. I'm not the best content creator. But the fact that I can help people create content for the stuff that they're excited about, I think is really cool. And I think that's what keeps me in the job, because I've met some really, really cool people, really smart people. Like, I've met doctors in like the science fields and like who love animals and who love like biology and all this stuff. And to watch people geek out about that stuff,
that's
really
cool.
makes me appreciate what they do, because I'm so far removed from that world. And those are the type of people who make the world go round. Mm-hmm. Like people who are like, who get their PhDs or are really into a specific topic in like a science or a field of education or something like that. Like, we never think about that kind of stuff. But there's people who dedicate their whole lives, their whole existences, and spend years studying a specific topic to know about a specific thing.
The most.
Yeah. And they're like, this is what I geek out about.
But it's actually helpful.
Dope.
But it's actually helpful
and that's
to the planet.
Thing. It's helpful to the planet. They become an expert in something that's like, it's not popular.
It's like some
it's
microscopic
not cool.
bacteria that's going to save our lives.
Yeah, exactly. It's not popular. It's not cool.
Yeah.
They just find it so exciting. And I love meeting those kinds of people, because it's really exciting that I get to like at least
That's
share
awesome.
my geeky knowledge
Yeah.
with them a little bit to make their lives a little bit easier.
That's great.
But
man.
that's cool. It's it's
Work-life
not
balance.
a super
No.
fun job,
yeah.
but at the same time, I get to meet some really cool
Yeah.
people.
You've never and I love this about your job is that you've never been like, dude, I need to get out of here. I never, like
Right,
it hasn't
right.
been that, and we've
Right.
all had jobs like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I think that's very relatable to
Yeah.
be stuck in a situation where you're like, I need to. This is like harming
Get
me.
the hell out of here.
But you're
Yeah.
always talking about how cool the stuff is.
yeah,
and, like,
and that has to do with like being in that circle where
Yeah.
like a lot of the people are cool. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the people who I interact with are really cool.
I
So,
like
yeah,
I
it's
like
good.
Smarties in academia. That's
Dude,
fun.
it's so cool. It's
Mhm.
so cool. So one of the people that I got to work with, I won't say his name, but it was at my previous job.
Johnny Hopkins.
Johnny Hopkins. So he was such a cool dude. I called him the Tony Stark of the place that I was in because, and this is really cool, he had one of the 3 bio printers in the world.
What?
So what this guy could do, if you had
I've seen Star Trek. I know what a bioprinter
okay,
is.
well listen to this. He wasn't actually printing biological material.
yeah.
But if either of you had a heart valve issue, he could scan your heart, make a 3D print of it,
Love it.
fit a new valve into that 3D print,
Let's go.
and then put it in you.
Let's go.
That's custom made for you without making multiple exploratory missions to figure out what's wrong. He cut healing time basically in half because
Yeah.
you don't have to do multiple surgeries for
and
something like
and
that.
according to the
It's
movie,
crazy.
The movie The Island, I didn't need to make a clone of myself.
You didn't need to make
Just
a clone
to
of yourself.
harvest the organs
right, exactly.
of Ewan McGregor.
And
Just
those
do that.
clones live their lives free and clear.
I love
because
that.
you don't have to kill that person anymore.
and under control.
And under control, exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Anyways,
Love
that's
it.
a little bit of my
That's
job.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's great. That's
Boom.
great.
Tom Clough asks, everyone knows Agustin loves Daft Punk, but what are your top 3 favorite bands of all time?
Oh,
Oh,
man, that's a
man.
good question.
Linkin Park,
Yep.
Led Zeppelin, AC/DC.
Oh, that's great.
Wow, you're a very classic rock dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any reason why now?
Hang on,
answer
I feel
why.
old now. Is Linkin Park classic rock now? No, right?
Well, no, but AC/DC.
Dear God.
I mean, it's about 20.
yeah.
They're about 25
Yeah.
years
Oh,
old
I
now.
guess
Right,
technically,
right, yeah.
technically they probably play them on the classic rock
Oh
station.
my
Yeah.
God.
So yes,
Augustine, yours are MF Doom,
MF Doom is one of them.
Daft Punk,
Daft Punk
and your
is
number
the other
3
one.
is probably this like awesome mariachi band I've never heard of, but they're sick, dude. They kick ass.
I guess if you're gonna say top 3, Café Tacuba's got to be up there.
There we go.
And I don't know if you guys know about Café Tacuba, but they're considered like in Mexico like the new age Beatles, like what they've done for music in Mexico. And I think generally, even though not a lot of people outside of the circle know about them,
Underrated.
is that no, because they're known globally,
Mm-hmm.
but like. I don't know. They've reached this kind of like they're known globally, but they're still kind of underground. It's really weird. It's really weird the way they are.
For sure.
But they're an amazing band, and I've spent so much time listening to them. But you're right. It would be Daft Punk. It would be MF Doom.
Have you
Café
played
Tacuba.
any of that band for us? Maybe at a party.
Maybe,
Never heard of it.
maybe. But I'll point it out
Next
next
time you do. Next time
I'll point
you do,
it out
yeah.
next time.
Dude, I don't know what mine would be. Mine might be.
I really want to know yours because let's preface this by
Yeah.
what do you listen to?
Film scores.
Exactly.
He's
Right.
right. Michael Giacchino, Danny Elfman,
Those are
John
also
Williams.
those also count very much because
Sure.
to compose something is
Damn.
crazy. You have to
Yes.
be crazy talented.
It's
Yeah.
really.
It's crazy.
You
Can
got
I,
a
can I say,
friend in me.
we haven't talked enough about Trent Reznor because he does that now.
Yeah.
Trent Reznor
And
does
Trent
do that.
Reznor's
Yeah.
like a musical
Yeah.
genius with that kind of stuff. And
mhm.
Atticus Ross, him and Atticus Ross and
Yeah.
their collabs. I will probably say my favorite bands though might be maybe Weezer,
Okay, classic.
maybe Foo Fighters.
Ooh, Dave Grohl is my
You
favorite person of all time.
Can't
by the
go
way.
wrong with Dave Grohl
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And with the controversy that happened at this last concert, people were sharing clips of Dave Grohl kicking people out of his, no mosh pits, like get the fuck
no
out of here,
fighting.
man. Like,
yeah.
love that stuff. And then probably Daft Punk, but man, just like bands or musical, I really liked early years of Muse, and I need to get
Okay,
back into
okay.
that. You know what I also just did? I don't get back into Muse because later Muse is not great. Here's what I was gonna say. I just got fully into the Strokes.
Oh my God, dude!
They're
the
awesome.
Strokes.
They're awesome, and
the Strokes are a life-defining band. for me.
they are. They've always been good.
Yeah.
But because I'm so obsessed with film scores, and that's how I usually collect music, and I'm in the car, and I'll be there with Abby. I'm like, go ahead, play whatever music you want. And Abby's just like, oh my god, like this, So what
Oh my
Sometimes can you listen to the Batman score?
Yeah,
Poor Abby.
right. And then I'm like, Batman,
Ludwig Göransson?
listen, I got Under the Red Hood. I got Batman Brave and the Bold. I got, she's over it. So what I decided to do as a gift for her, but also for me, I was like, this is what I always planned to do, is to go by band and just kind of grab their discography.
Don't do that.
No, I did it. No. But here's what I did with the Strokes.
Oh, okay. That's when you should do it with.
I pulled up every
Yeah.
major album and even like EP from the Strokes.
Yeah.
Made sure that I was including every one of their singles at least, new, old, whatever.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff, but I went through kind of album by album each night with Abby, and I was like, let's listen to this album. Do you like this album? And she was like, I like that whole album. Boom, bought it.
Yeah.
And then I listened to like a more recent album.
Yeah.
Maybe 2015 or something like that, 2014. And I was like, do you like this whole album? And she was like, I like 5 of those songs. And I'm like, great, I'll buy them individually.
Yeah.
So there's no skips. So now I have on my iPod the Strokes discography, no skips. And it's all stuff that Abby loves. And I'm like, I want to keep, it was cool. We were spending time and listening to music. So I'm like, I'm going to keep doing that for bands that Abby loves, bands that I love. So
that means we're going to a Stroke show then.
I'd be down,
right?
dude. I really
Adam,
have a.
Do we have to get you that playlist and we'll
again
go to a Stroke show?
Have always loved them, but to actually go through and listen to their newest stuff, and I'm on their Wikipedia, and I'm like, oh dang, they took a 6-year break. I'm learning about their producer shuffle. I'm like, oh my god, look, they got married, got divorced. Oh, that's all this.
I am
it's
obsessed
cool.
with the Strokes,
They're
and
great.
I have been for a long time. I've only been to one Stroke show, but there was a really funny thing that happened. Actually, so it was at FYF Festival. FYF is Fuck Yeah Festival. It happens here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And they were the headliner that night. Apparently, Daft Punk were there without their helmets.
What?
Nobody recognized them in the crowd.
Of course.
Apparently,
Banksy.
there's pictures there, which that's what I love about them. But what was really funny is that we waited so long to get into the crowd and kind of get closer to the front. It was me, my wife, my little brother, my little sister, and my buddy Walter. You guys know Walter.
Yeah, Walter's great.
We love you, Walter.
Shout out to Walter.
And so what was really funny is that we got in the crowd a little bit earlier. We watched the band beforehand, and there was this girl. There was this girl who was obsessed with a burrito that she had.
Can't blame her.
So much. The crowd was going so crazy that like she had to hold her burrito up in the air. She held her burrito up in the air for like 4 hours.
Oh my god.
Girl, eat it.
I want to meet this legend.
The crowd was wild. We were
That's
just
amazing.
like waving back and forth. Like I could not touch the ground. It almost turned into like a Travis Scott fest. Like there was points where like my feet weren't touching the floor and I was like going back and forth, right?
Whoa.
Like the crowd was just crazy.
For the Strokes show.
For the Stroke show.
Yeah.
But this girl with her burrito was just straight up, just like, this burrito ain't going nowhere. Like she was, and I admire her for that because I'm like,
people
who
hold
keeps their arm
signs
up?
that are like, your music changed my life, your music saved me. And she's
burrito
looking at,
changed my
she's
life.
Like,
no,
burrito,
like it was just this burrito wrapped in tinfoil.
It was like a Chipotle burrito.
And you could tell where she was in the crowd.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's
It
great.
was crazy.
I think I would actually have to change. Oh, this is so hard. I might have to change Metallica for no. I said Linkin
You
Park,
said Linkin
Led
Park,
Zeppelin,
Led
AC/DC.
Zeppelin, and AC/DC.
Yeah.
I'm-
AC/DC though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't leave Queen out.
Okay.
all time.
Okay. Queen
Queen
is
is just
legendary.
Too
All
good.
time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, okay, what's your official list? Give us
Linkin
your
Park,
list.
Led Zeppelin, Queen.
There you
Boom.
go.
Got it.
Solid.
Queen solidified. One of the greatest
Solid.
bands of all
What
time.
did I say? I said Weezer, Foo Fighters, and
Strokes.
Strokes, I guess. Yeah, I
Yes,
feel like
the
Strokes is up there.
belongs up
Yeah,
there.
Linkin Park was
All
like a
right.
huge part of my my high school years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like the music that I listen to with all my friends. I've seen them the most. I've seen them, I think, 5 times live.
Mhm.
Wow.
And the last time I saw them was for my 30th birthday in Prague.
Yeah.
And a
yeah,
month
I remember.
later, Chester passed away.
Yeah,
So that was like, that was an experience.
Yeah.
And then it became like a life-defining experience
Yeah.
to be able to
Right.
see them live.
Yeah.
You talk
I
about
would-
that. How
I would-
special that is.
I would love, it'll never happen, but I would kill to see Led Zeppelin live.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I've
But,
seen
you know,
Metallica live. I've seen AC/DC live. Queen will never see live, obviously. Even though they've been touring with Adam Lambert, I think is his name,
Oh.
Yeah.
from
Yeah, never say never,
what
man.
is it, American Idol? But come on,
Holograms,
Freddie
dude.
Mercury, man.
Holograms.
It's-
Holograms. I'm just saying.
I also have to preface this list that I just presented
Mhm.
with a little asterisk because these are bands that most people have heard of.
Yes.
I have a whole separate other
for sure.
list for bands that people
For
nobody have heard of.
And sometimes I even have bands that have only done like 1 to 3 songs that become popular, but they're so good.
Yeah.
And
so good.
I have never met anyone who's like, know of this band or this DJ or whatever. And I'm like, that's for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I like.
Exactly. There's so much other stuff that I listen to, and Adam can attest to this.
Oh yeah.
I listen to so much shit.
You do.
So much.
You do. If we're ever out or whatever, or you're just playing music, I'm always like, Shazam.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is
need
good.
to-
I like this.
You need to hang out in car rides more often, Hector.
Yeah.
We'll get you.
I'm good.
We'll
I got
get
my
you.
shit.
We'll get you. No, trust me. You don't even know about Julian Casablancas' other band that you need to tie into the other one.
Wikipedia it.
What is it called?
It's called Eagles Fly.
Nope.
What's it called?
The Voids.
The Voids.
Sorry, buddy.
The Voids.
And they fucking suck, dude. I
Sorry.
hate that band.
we should just take a road trip to like San Diego
Yeah.
and just play different
Okay.
music.
We should.
Anyway.
Comic-Con this weekend.
Yeah.
Won't be there.
I'm not going to
Calaburita?
that. I'm not going to
Calaburita?
Are you going?
No.
Oh.
Just saying.
that. All right, next question.
For Mr. Scott, we know you all enjoy movies, TV series, comics, but do any of you play board games, entertainment related or otherwise? If so, what are your favorite games? Salud.
Funny story.
what did we do a couple days
Our
ago?
favorite
Yeah.
game of all time
Is Uno
is Uno.
50th edition.
Oh my God. Yeah, so we didn't talk about this, but we did a Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
I guess you're seeing this, it'll be a week after. But we did a Friendsgiving, which was awesome. We had amazing food. But we played Uno. Well, we played Jenga, then we played Codenames, then we played Uno.
First round,
Ruthless
fun.
Uno.
Yeah, ruthless. First round of
Yeah.
Uno, fun, fine.
I
quick.
won.
Second round of
First
Uno,
round.
also fun, good, quick.
Yeah.
Third round of Uno went for 2
It
fucking
didn't-
hours.
Okay. Did
Swear to God,
anybody
it was
track
2
the
hours.
time?
No, it was about 2 hours.
Oh my God. It felt
Yeah.
like an eternity.
It felt like
I thought
5
I was
hours.
going to like die sitting there.
I had 2 chances to end the game.
I had one.
back to
You
back,
did,
and
you
I
did.
didn't end the game.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And that
Yeah.
was a mistake. And
Well,
Chaos.
I was at the point where I was like, I really want this game to end. And then it literally came to me.
Yeah.
And I could have ended it because Cynthia had a card that would have ended the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and I was thinking, I can either go home now
Yeah.
or
I didn't
can,
want to disappoint you.
or I could make this suffering go a little bit longer and
it's not
enjoy
your
the
fault.
happiness on Keller and Hector's face.
Yeah.
So I went with that option.
Yeah.
The round kept going and going and going to the point where I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
I want it to end.
Yeah.
But then it kept going, and I got to a point where I was like,
This is laughable.
This is
this is
wild.
laughable.
Yeah.
This is wild. We're in this together. This is
Yeah.
a shared trauma.
It was
I,
shared
I,
trauma.
I told
Yeah.
Keller after that round of Uno made me love each of those people there more, but also hate them more at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
It's crazy.
It was multiple emotions going.
Yeah.
I feel like we bonded through trauma.
I think all of us at
It's
some
like a-
point
it's like a
went
Squid Game.
from 7 cards
yeah.
to
like
one
to
card
2
And
to
then
literally
80,
20.
87 cards.
Because
was
ruthless
crazy.
rules is if you don't have it, you have to
Yes.
keep drawing until you pull it.
Yeah.
Right, right.
You know,
I
that's-
literally
so-
ended up with like
Yeah.
I think it was 10 green cards,
Yeah.
10 red cards,
And that's it.
1 blue and a yellow. And I was
Yeah.
like, I can't,
Yeah.
I literally have to keep pulling cards.
And we weren't even playing like the Ruthless that I usually play.
Yeah.
Usually when I play Ruthless is if you don't have a card that's on the deck, you keep pulling until you get something, right?
Mhm.
The other way is if you drop like a draw 2,
Yeah.
Mhm.
the next person can stack a draw 2, then
Yeah.
that
Oh,
person
right,
gets 4.
right.
And if that person has a draw 2, they can pass that to the
6,
next
8,
Brutal.
10.
Dude, that's wild. That
Jesus.
breaks friendships. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not
There
cool.
were definitely a couple of moments where I was like, should I just throw my cards and say I'm done and go lay on
Yeah.
the couch?
No.
But I'm glad none of us quit. I
Yeah.
forgot
No, we didn't
how
quit.
it ended, but it did.
It was a legitimate end.
It was
Yeah.
It was a
I
legitimate
think
end.
Cynthia ended the game.
I think Chelsea won the
I
game.
think
Oh, Chelsea
Chelsea
did.
won.
But I
Chelsea.
like Keller's strategy where you
Yeah.
don't even hide the cards. You just put
Yeah.
them on the
Yeah,
table.
Keller was the best because I looked and I'm like, what does he have? Oh, okay, I'll keep him going.
You don't
Yo.
hide your cards. You put every single card of yours facing
I
up
hate
on
that
the
shit.
table.
I hate it.
I called it chaos theory.
It's chaos
Yeah.
theory.
and it worked.
It's chaos theory, and it did. And it's like he was doing it, and then all of a sudden you started doing it. Chelsea
Yeah.
started doing it. So
Yeah.
half of the table, you guys had your cards laid out, and the rest of us were like,
Yeah.
why are we even holding these
And
anymore?
at a certain point, I had so many cards that I couldn't even like
Yeah.
spread them out enough. I was like, why don't I just lay these stupid things down by color and call it a day?
and then we
Shuffle
had
the
that 50th anniversary thing where like you point to 2 people and then flip a coin. So
Oh,
that added,
yeah,
like
draw
Yeah.
cards.
draw 4,
yeah.
draw 4. We also did play Code Names.
Mhm.
I loved that.
That was
and
fun.
Jenga, if that counts as a board game, is
Yeah.
just a classic.
Yeah.
But like Code's name, we got into Code Names.
yeah.
Codenames was
We
fun.
got
we won.
Codenames
We were
was fun.
undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us 3.
Hector was very stressed out.
Yeah. Dude, that hands thing, I can't believe you
Where
guys
I was
got
like-
3 of the
where I was
4.
like, chicken 2, and then rubbers on there, and I was like, oh no, don't pick it, don't pick it.
Oh my god.
I thought you were mad at us. I was
No.
like, oh man, Hector's gonna quit Heroes Reforged because of this.
Yeah. That was a fun game.
But
That was
other
fun.
than that, do you guys play board games
No.
Not really.
on your own? I
Not
don't
really,
either.
no.
No,
don't
I
either.
did it for 2 years as my job.
Yeah,
so the
that's
last thing I wanted to
That's
fucking
very
do is
true.
play board
We'll
games.
skip that. We'll skip that part.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
also,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't even like going to Vegas and playing card games or even
Yeah.
betting very much.
Oh, okay.
Like, I
Not
don't.
into
I don't
that.
even like to do that.
I
Kind
will
of stuff.
say, Django not necessarily being a board game, but the ones that I have really enjoyed, and one of them was because we altered it a lot for the audience. The way that we played Risk at Hyper was super fun.
Oh, cool.
But I really did genuinely love playing Uno with you guys and
Yeah,
Codenames.
that was
Yeah.
great.
Also,
I
we-
would play those again.
speaking of Risk, we do need to find a LA neighborhoods version of Risk,
Risk.
so
That's
that
right.
Augustine can play
That's
it.
right.
'Cause he was-
Absolutely.
you were getting heated at
Yeah.
Uno, where you were like, you're like, this is East Side versus
versus Van Nuys
versus NoHo, like just mad. Like, all right, we're gonna get you
I
a,
would pit the castles against
a
each other.
Risk
Yeah.
with all the LA neighborhoods, Los Feliz, and well, you know how in
Yeah,
Risk, if
funny.
you get Australia, you're pretty much gonna win. Like
Yeah.
that's always the secret strategy. Is if you try to get Australia 1st, it's such a helpful thing.
Yeah.
What would be the Australia for the LA
East
neighborhoods?
Los Angeles.
East
People
Los Angeles.
So
Underrated.
Dude, we're the city supply of tacos. Like, what do you think's
Yep.
gonna happen if we go under? Nobody's
Yeah.
getting fed. Everybody's dying. Everybody's gonna die. Sorry,
All right.
you're not getting your tacos. You're dead.
We've got East LA. That's all
We've got
the
East LA.
tacos.
That's all we need. We got the
All the
tacos
tacos you need from
We
East
got all
LA.
the tacos.
Here we go.
We got the LA supply of guacamole.
Oh God.
Board games are fun.
From Marcelo Malebran. Hi there, homies. I've always admired how passionate you are when talking about the things you love, like comic books, shows, movies, and stuff. My question is there any particular movie or show that you would like to completely erase from your mind
yeah.
to experience it again? Greetings from Chile.
From Chile,
Oh.
Avengers Endgame.
Oh,
Avengers
God, that
Endgame.
was so good.
Dude. Avengers
Yeah,
Endgame.
yeah.
You guys remember when we were in the theater?
In the
I
Disney
screamed.
screening.
When-
No
when-
movies ever made me scream.
When
Yeah.
Hulk was about to snap to bring everybody back, I held we all held
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
we did hold hands.
So
Yeah, I
like
remember that.
if I could somehow, I guess it would be Avengers Endgame to now, because I don't
Mhm.
want the knowledge of Spider-Man Far From Home
Mhm.
first,
Mhm.
because that spoils, oh, Tony Stark
Yeah,
died
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
So maybe that it couldn't work I overthink impossible scenarios.
Yeah, you can just say.
I overthink magic
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
I would like that experience, but then I'm like, no, but then if I know what happens in WandaVision, what the
Yeah.
fuck? That's going to ruin
it's okay,
the-
Hector.
Sorry.
Avengers Endgame is a really good one because when Cap lifts
Oh.
Mjolnir
Ay, ay, ay.
and then he says
Yeah.
Avengers Assemble,
Ay, ay, ay.
That was a special moment.
Yeah.
Like, that was definitely a special
I'm so glad
moment.
we got to see that together. That was really, really cool.
That moment in, I think, movie history is very
Yeah.
underrated because comic book movies are, but like that moment in those movies
What a payoff.
was such a good payoff, and we could just have a whole hour-long conversation just about that moment.
Yeah.
It was just it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a whole
Yeah.
separate
And the
thing on its
MCU,
own.
for how expansive it is, it's really like one of those only franchises that came out in the 2000s that like I followed every
Right,
year,
exactly.
every movie
Yeah.
before we were
Yeah.
even doing YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't read Marvel Comics growing up,
Right.
but I knew people who read the comics, so they were like, "Oh, so cool, Nick Fury. This is who he is. This is what this could lead to. Avengers Initiative. Here's what it means." So I was like, "Ooh, this could be really fun for
Okay.
comic loving people."
So what's yours then?
Halloween.
No, I don't think so because I never saw that in the theater.
Force Awakens.
You know, the hype for Force Awakens was pretty
Pretty juicy.
massive,
Pretty juicy.
and I was an emotional mess.
Yeah, oh yeah.
when that movie was coming out.
Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah.
either that or honestly, The Dark Knight.
Oh hell
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good one.
Ooh,
I
that thing
saw
was
the-
mind blowing.
I saw The Dark Knight.
Night.
It came out the 18th, and I think I
Yeah.
saw it on like the 15th.
Yeah.
I saw it at Tuesday, like a couple days early,
Mm.
at Mira Mesa 18 in the IMAX theater.
Oh, good theater.
And I can remember sitting in the theater and watching that opening sequence of the logo flying past and then opens on Chicago in
Yeah.
IMAX. And I literally was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like that.
It's kind of like that.
And then seeing like Heath Ledger standing there
I don't
on
know.
that huge screen.
This guy hired me to do this thing too.
Boss told me to take him out when we was done.
Funny. She told me something similar.
Wait, what?
Hey.
But seeing that movie in an IMAX theater,
Yeah.
that was like, because I had seen IMAX documentaries
Yeah.
at the what was it, Reuben H. Fleet Science Center in San Diego and
I
Balboa
think
Park.
so. Yeah,
But it's a dome IMAX, so it's a little different.
It's very different.
And you're watching documentaries about space.
Yeah.
But to see The Dark Knight,
Yeah.
and you're laying back like this.
and I'm sitting there, I'm going like, holy shit, that screen is massive.
Yeah.
And then we got that movie on top of that,
Mhm.
and Heath Ledger and everything. It was like, I was overwhelmed by that movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
That'd be
So
pretty
that's
cool.
probably
That's
for
a
me.
good question. Mine is not a movie, and I'm going to change this question because mine is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
They're going to say going to New Zealand.
No,
Oh.
mine is Avatar:
The
The
whole
Last
show.
Airbender.
Yeah.
The whole show.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
so I always try to tell people who have never watched the show, and try to convince people that this is the greatest show you will ever watch. And it makes me sad that I'll never get to experience it for the first time twice.
Mhm.
But I kind of do because I showed my wife the show for
Second
the first
time.
time.
Second time.
And watching her rewatch it, it made
Yeah.
me so happy.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to convince Adam to watch it.
You don't have to convince me.
And watching Adam
Yeah,
go
yeah,
through
yeah.
that journey again is going to be
Yeah,
special,
yeah.
not just for me, for my wife. And just like
Yeah. do
watching
that.
somebody go
Oh,
through
you know
those
what, though?
emotions again is
When-
crazy.
If and when you get Adam through it and you do the
Mhm.
3 seasons,
Mhm.
you guys got to do the comics. If you've never read them, because that'll be an extra
Never read
new
the
thing for
comics.
you. But the comics are
Yeah.
like the bridge between the generational,
so
Avatar's
the
almost
comments
like,
are after the season, right?
yes, but
before
they're
Korra.
before, but
Okay.
they're basically Aang and the gang.
Right.
like,
Doesn't Zuko
building up
follow
the-
where
Yes,
his mom is?
dude.
Right.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So like it's almost like the original Star Trek, and then the Legend of Korra is like Star Trek: The Next Generation,
Mhm.
or like the Star Wars different eras and stuff. But like
Mhm.
there's a whole line of comics that are almost like I want to see Luke create that Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
You know, and have it be canon or whatever. I know that there's versions of that in
Mhm,
that are
mhm.
legends and stuff, but still, they're super, super cool. So
Okay,
that could be an
okay.
added thing for you.
Maybe
to get
that's
into.
what this year's going to be because
Yeah.
we try to do that every year for
Yeah.
Christmas. So
Mhm.
maybe
Yeah.
we'll do that this year.
And
There
I'll
you
tell
go.
you what, if you guys do that, and you get through at least even
He's like, invite me over.
even the first season, if you get through
Uh-huh.
it, Avatar: The Last Airbender, I'll hunt down a 3D copy of the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Okay.
You guys will come over.
And
We'll get rip roaring drunk and be mad and just laugh at that movie and just let's do it.
Okay.
Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it. We'll do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Have you ever seen that movie?
I
Might be the worst movie I've ever seen in my
I
life.
think it is the worst movie I've
I
ever
don't
seen.
think I've seen the
But you
whole
can-
thing. I think I
you
only
can
saw like the
only
first like
fully
40 minutes,
hate
30
it
minutes.
once
If
you've
you've seen the
seen
first season,
Avatar, yeah,
it's like
yeah.
heartbreaking.
It's heartbreakingly bad.
Yeah.
And the 3D is garbage.
Yeah.
So we gotta watch
It was like one of the
Yeah,
first
I
movies that
agree.
Sarah
yeah.
D did.
They're like, check
Yeah.
it out, cards. Like,
Baby's first 3D movie.
when Hollywood's like, can you do this in a month for $4?
I got you, boo
And
boo.
Stereo D was like, sure.
I got you, boo boo.
Do you like dioramas?
Jesus.
Barf.
All right, next
Pinky
question.
Jarman asks, homies, would love to see some videos with the three of you discussing, reacting to, or breaking down visual effects from your favorite films and TV shows. With your backgrounds, it would be educational and entertaining. Love the channel.
I disagree.
Interesting.
Other
Interesting.
people have that on lockdown.
So yes,
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think we
yeah.
also have to keep in mind that we have been out of the industry for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not up to date with
Technology
everything
has
that's
changed so
happening.
drastically.
Right.
Yeah.
We can still call out bad CG and bad composites and,
And
things like that.
Praise stuff that we like.
and praise
Yeah.
stuff that we like.
Yeah.
I think Corridor Crew though, like if you're looking for those kind of reactions, those
Mhm.
guys got it.
Yeah.
Like those guys got it on lock. You know about Corridor Crew,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys got it on lock
And they do visual effects videos every day of their life.
every day of their
Mhm.
life. Like, and they recreate VFX videos. Like
Mhm.
they did a video where they recreated that scene from Scorpion King.
Yeah, with the rock.
Oh.
And
Where
made
they
it better.
made it better.
Hell yeah. Love
Yeah,
that.
and so
Love that.
that's the kind of stuff that like if you're
So
looking
like,
for
we couldn't bring that to the table.
I-
So-
I would-
Are you kidding me?
I would love to do a collaboration with them
That would be fun.
where
Very
we could
interesting.
talk
That
about
would
like
be a
movies
lot
that
of
we
fun.
worked on with
Yeah.
them and talk
Yeah.
about like, you know,
yeah.
talk to them about
Yeah.
like the 3D process or the VFX process because I think that they have a lot more depth than we do.
Right.
And
Oh,
for
yeah.
us to be like, this is what we don't like about it, and they can
Yeah.
explain, well, here's the technical elements of why that doesn't work.
Right. Exactly.
Like that
exactly.
to me would be way more fun.
I feel like if you wanted a VFX specific Patreon category, we might be able to do that. I don't know. Maybe. No, that's too much.
I
That's
would
too
like.
much.
I think that would be great. Or maybe specific videos or special
yeah,
projects or whatever. I feel like the only thing I could feel real confident about like adding to the special effects or visual effects discourse on YouTube would be like, well, I can talk about 3D movies. Problem is, if we
can't show it.
Can't show it.
That's
so
the issue.
I'm like,
is that nobody can see what we're talking about.
Yeah,
You would have
if we point
we'd have to
stuff
have a
out.
video, and you have to literally be like, everyone who clicks the link in the description gets a pair of anaglyph glasses.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
right.
like I cannot.
And a passive 3D monitor.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah,
about what we're
right?
talking about.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's a
tricky.
pain in the butt, but we could talk about 3D till we're blue in the face because we all spend so much time doing
Maybe
it.
when those new LG TVs come out.
Yeah,
LG,
Fingers crossed.
We're
Fingers
looking for that
crossed.
sponsorship, LG.
Hit me up.
I
Hit
could
us
definitely
up.
talk
Hit us up.
about.
Hit us up.
I could
Hit us
definitely talk about visual effects in a more generalized
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But when it comes to so much of the new technology that's out, all the
Right,
things with
right.
like Unreal Engine and all that
Yeah,
stuff, I
yeah.
know it from a very general perspective. But the technical elements and like
For sure.
all of the under the hood stuff, no.
Yeah, well
Yeah,
said.
that's a big discussion that other people are having. Go.
I agree.
Wrong
Okay.
button. That's a big discussion that other people are having, then they're having it very well. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Adam Hitchcock asks, every single time I watch Endgame, I cry when Peter says goodbye to Tony after the snap, probably because of my relationship or lack thereof with my father. This is for each of you. What is the most emotional movie moment for all of you? What moment in a movie always makes you cry and why?
Dang.
Thanks again for the genuine happiness
Why
you
you trying
provide
to make
us
me
all.
cry,
I
homie?
know. I thought.
He said thank you for the happiness, and he's like, cry, bitch.
Yeah.
This is from
Cry for
Adam
me.
Hitchcock.
Yeah.
He's like, this is for each of you. What's your relationship with your father like, dude?
Yeah.
You can't. I don't. We can't get into that. It's too personal, too real.
You know what? I don't have a movie that makes me cry every time, but I'm going to go back to Avatar.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
Little Soldier song, it just gets me every single time, and you'll see when you get to it, Adam.
That's a
There's
good one.
there's a moment there where it's just, it's a relationship. I'm not going to spoil anything.
and
but
the episode dedicated to Mako,
yeah,
who
exactly.
passed away like after he recorded
After
that.
he recorded that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Golly,
But
Bob.
that's mine, and I'm just going to defer to Avatar: The Last
Okay.
Airbender for everything at this point.
I can cry at most movies I love. I can cry at Iron Giant, but so can everybody. I can cry at John Carter if I'm watching that movie and sucked into it. When the Michael Giacchino score swells, you know which part I'm
there's
talking
moments.
about.
There's moments where like the music's perfect, like
Yeah.
the cinematography's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect point in the story. I think if you can find those moments more
Yeah.
commonly in every movie, then you're doing a good job of making your media that you consume count for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a really good way
Like
to put it.
you're really
Yeah.
finding what you love in these kind of things,
What you
even though they might
connect
not
to.
be acclaimed, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you connect to that can move
Yeah.
you. Because I feel that way with music sometimes. Like when I listen to music, there's this song called El Sonidito, right? It's one of the best songs I've ever heard. But if you know it, it's just the song going beep 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 beep. But I listen to it over and over again. And sometimes, like one time, my eyes welled up. I'm like, "This is the perfect song. This is the most perfect song ever." It's just like, it's such a dumb song.
But I love the way you put that. I think that if you look at your art
Mm-hmm.
and you can, in a healthy way, let it help you work stuff out.
Yeah.
And movies are therapy.
Yeah.
You know, music is therapy. Comic books are therapy. TV is therapy. If you are, video games are therapy. If you use that stuff and it doesn't impact you negatively, meaning you shouldn't put yourself through something if it's too whatever. But if there's stuff that you can allow yourself to let go, work through stuff, work on yourself, reflect on your life,
Or just
do that.
enjoy something.
Yes,
Like just
absolutely.
absorbing something and fully letting yourself enjoy something. That's how I feel with media and with music and things
Yeah.
like that. Like if I'm fully happy with something that I'm reading or listening to or anything like that,
But
that's what the
dude,
little moments in life that I love.
I'm easy, dude. I cry at the end of Click with Adam
Yeah,
Sandler,
that's
like
true. That's
because
true.
it's sad, but also I'm easy.
I mean, that's
easy.
that's a good movie.
Yeah.
50 First Dates, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
For me, it usually has to revolve around some like family scene.
Yeah.
And it usually has to do with like immigrant families.
Yep.
So like the dinner scene or the
Mi familia.
Coco.
the breakfast scene in Shang-Chi.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
understand this.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
happening here?
Yeah.
The Farewell has a very similar type of family scene where they have dinner,
Yeah.
So it's
yeah,
those
yeah.
types of moments that I'm like, I see my family in this. I see the immigrant, and all that sort
Because
of
it's
stuff.
very personal too.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
experiences. Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But also, this is silly, but Smallville,
Oh hell
the
yeah!
relationship between Clark and his dad,
It's the best.
Interesting.
even though I'm like obviously a regular person, the relationship that he has with his dad is very similar to the relationship I had with my grandpa.
There you go, Jonathan
Very
Kent.
personal,
Interesting.
very like
And Jonathan Kent's
nurturing and loving, and
That's a great example. That's
Yeah.
and there's
Very good
great
example.
moments in that show. And
Yeah.
at one point, Jonathan Kent passes away.
Yep.
And they did it in the show
yeah. My grandpa passed away
around that time. Oh my
like
gosh.
a couple years after.
Oh,
So it was weird. It was like
It was
kind of like a
mirroring-
parallel world in some
mirroring
ways, and I was
you,
like,
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like this.
You're like emotionally compromised.
Yeah,
I cannot.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good question. Good
Good
We're
question.
gonna stop
Thanks
talking
for-
about it
thanks for
because we're
wrecking me.
all gonna start crying. So next question, because I don't want to sob on the show.
Ronin Unchained asks, "Hey, paisanos, if each of you could host 2 showings for 2 films you love and have a Q&A session with the people behind them, which films would you choose and who would you invite to the discussion?
Oh my
Cheers."
I don't
Oh
think
my
any of the
God.
movies I'd want to show people would garner a discussion because I would want to show
No,
like
man.
Kung Pao Enter the Fist
Yeah.
and Dumb and Dumber. Like I would just want
I feel
people.
like there's great discussion.
I just want
Yeah.
people to like show up and laugh.
Yeah,
like
for
sure.
I want to put on an event where people are like, yeah, I want to go back
Okay.
and do that. Like,
But if
I
you've-
don't want to have a discussion.
If
Okay.
you've listened to any of Jeff Daniels' interviews where he talks about
know
Dumb
what?
and Dumber,
Do it with Jeff Daniels.
it's
and maybe Jim
really
Carrey.
interesting.
That would be tight.
I don't think they want to talk about that.
Ah.
Oh no, Jeff Daniels literally just did a Vanity Fair
Oh,
interview.
did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he talked about his
Yeah.
career,
Yeah.
and he was like, he said that Jim Carrey specifically did not want a comedian.
Yes.
He
yes,
wanted
yes, yes, yes.
someone
the straight
who
man.
would not do this with him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but who would support him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he was like, and it's
Perfect.
it's so fascinating listening to Jeff Daniels because he's talked about it in a few interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like there is a lot to gain from that.
I mean, maybe. that movie for me was like a life defining.
Oh
movie
my
for
God,
sure.
are you kidding
Did you ever
me?
watch Dumb and Dumber 2?
Yeah, and I didn't
yeah,
like it.
Bad movie.
Yeah,
It's
it
so
was
bad.
How about the
Dumb
prequel?
and Dumber
Dumb
when
and
Harry met
Dumber-er,
Lloyd.
yeah.
Also
That was
bad.
Also
too.
bad.
Actually, Bob Saget was funny in that movie where he walks into the bathroom and there's shit all over the place. Like, that's the funniest part of the movie because it's Bob Saget and it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah.
But it's just a funny scene.
But
on its own.
nothing beats Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey riding to Aspen on that little motorbike.
Oh my God.
Just
We're
with the
there.
yeah.
Mocos, the mocos coming
frozen
out,
everywhere.
just like,
Oh.
yeah,
And like, there's just something special about 90s comedy that can't be beat.
And you're absolutely right. And I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife, and
Oh yeah, that's
judging
right.
the 2 movies back to back, it's like there's something to be said about, first of all, the film quality, about how they filmed things back then, the film style, but also just like the actors and the way that they kind of portray things and the way that they act, because there is moments in movies where I'm just like, people don't act like this anymore. And like look at somebody like Bill Murray, right? Like, you don't see any actors like that anymore. Like there's not a lot of people who have that charm, who can kind of be a dickhead, but they're still kind of funny. Like I just watched Murders in the Building. Steve Martin, dude, like he's still just as charming, as funny as he was
Treasure.
back in the day.
You know what? Because those people, I think they're TV. Because I think maybe a modern day Bill Murray, maybe, and not the same, but like maybe a
Right.
Jason Sudeikis is
Yeah.
charming, can kind of be a dick. Well, you know what? His skill set, Ted Lasso, not movies.
I haven't seen that show yet, so I don't know.
But I
Yeah.
think that thing and then you mentioned Only Murders, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think that those kinds of actors are now being utilized on TV as opposed to they don't make movies.
Yeah.
and, you know,
like maybe.
Yeah.
I think that might be part of
Yeah.
it, but like I think there's a certain magic
That's true.
that like happened back then, and who knows, we might be experiencing it now, but we don't know it until like 10 years from
Yeah.
now when we rewatch those movies.
yeah,
But like there's a certain magic that was captured back with like 80s and 90s movies that we don't necessarily capture nowadays. So like, yeah, I feel like anything that I would show in a screening like that would have to be something from back then.
Maybe this is a hot take. I don't know. I don't really care either. I feel like people are less willing to suspend their disbelief nowadays for certain types of genres.
It could be the culture.
Like I think Marvel
Could be the
did a
culture.
really good job making Iron Man feel super realistic to the maximum point that it could, but we slowly transitioned into like fantasy. But because it was such like over the
science-based fantasy.
well, it was over the course of like 10 years, so we were
Yeah.
really eased into that idea.
Yeah.
I think if you would have just started with Guardians of the Galaxy, people would be like, it's too far-fetched.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
And I think because of movies...
and also Marvel,
Yeah.
for worse or not for better, I think have also conditioned movie audiences to really pay attention to continuity and explanations and stuff that it is,
where everybody becomes hyper focused on that.
I'm part of that problem because I am doing that. To the point where in our YouTube comments, people are giving me shit like, you're overthinking Spider-Man No Way Home. It's just like, thrown together like shenanigans. And I'm like, yeah, but the people that are making this have been doing what you're describing for 10 years. So I'm like, I am going to overthink it. This ain't Venom 2.
Right.
They didn't overthink shit.
Right.
But certain, movies and stuff do. So about
so I think there is a little bit of that where we're so hyper focused on making everything feel realistic.
Yeah.
And I think for movies, you have to be willing to suspend your disbelief at some point.
Yeah.
Where why is this character doing this? He wouldn't be able to afford this, or he wouldn't be able to travel from here to here in that short of a time. It's like, if he got to New York to Boston in 2 hours, I'm not questioning it.
Where did Harry and Lloyd get all those worms from? I don't know.
Yeah, it's not important to the story.
I've got worms.
It's important to the moment that's happening.
Where did Petey come from? Petey the bird. Nobody knows. It doesn't matter.
So I think a lot of that sometimes comes down also just on Twitter generally when people are talking about movies and you're talking about something that's older from the 80s and 90s, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, that's not the objective of the movie.
Cinema sins and all of those.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I think a lot of I think to go back to Ronin's question, I don't necessarily want to...
Oh, I didn't even answer the question.
Yeah, you guys haven't answered the question yet.
Sorry.
I don't necessarily want to turn every movie that I love into a big discussion.
Right.
I just kind of want people to enjoy them.
Experience it.
Yeah, just enjoy them for what they are.
Yeah.
And just leave. Have a taco and leave.
I mean, I've literally on Twitter just seen people talking about the Ghostbusters box office, and I'm like, cool, but what about the movie? No one's talking about the movie.
I don't care.
What the hell? My two movies would be Interstellar would be one.
Okay.
And Chris Nolan would have to be the guest. The second one, in a perfect world, if I can make this happen, would probably be Superman 78 with Richard Donner.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Passed away.
All right.
Or maybe somebody else who worked on that movie still would be still, some great producer or somebody who's still around.
People left.
Yeah, I know.
That's the tough part.
Yeah,
John Williams.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, say comedy or 3D. Tell me.
One comedy, one 3D.
One comedy, one 3D?
Yeah.
Fuck. I might go...
John Carter.
John Carter, of course.
John Carter, 100%. It would just be me talking to the director, Andrew
Stanton. And then
Stanton.
the second one is John Carter in 3D.
Yeah. John Carter in 3D is a comedy. No, the second one would be, I think I might go Nacho Libre.
That's a good one.
With Jack Black, the cast, the director, to talk about.
Would Jack Black do it, though?
I think,
I don't know, man.
Dude,
you said he doesn't like talking about that movie.
That's what I gathered. There's no
Dude,
concrete evidence.
You haven't seen him on George Lopez? Didn't I show you that clip?
When
George Lopez had his talk show.
How long ago was this?
10 years ago now. When did he have his talk show?
Yes.
I would tell Jack, yo, I'm a Mexican guy. You will be okay. It's okay. This is be positive.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Yes. It'll be positive. I think it would be fine.
I think so too. Yeah. And I want Jack Black to know because I know he watches this show. I know he watches us. Jack Black, you are loved and adored in the Mexican community.
That's right.
And please come and talk to us about Nacho Libre because I just
the Mexican
really want to
delegation accepts your performance, accepts your portrayal,
and embraces you.
Yeah, because
for everything you did in that movie.
Like George Lopez pointed out, you hit the words correctly. I need to borrow some sweats.
Yes.
Miércoles.
Everything is so perfect, and you tried hard. And I watched the behind the scenes thing.
Yeah.
And I know that one of his favorite snacks behind the scenes was to have peanut butter and jelly tortillas. So it would be 2 tortillas, one with peanut butter, one with jelly. Smash them together. Eat them all up like that.
Perfect.
I guess I know what I'm doing when we're done.
That's a perfect snack.
That's a perfect little snack.
Next
and I'm
question.
Yes, that's perfect.
We're almost done.
Luis Maradiaga asks, what up, fellas? Are there any guilty pleasure TV shows or movies that you've started watching this fall?
90 Day Fiancé, baby! I should start a podcast on 90 Day Fiancé.
You should.
Oh, my
God. You and
God.
Cynthia would be at the top of the charts.
Yeah, we love that show.
You guys
don't miss an episode.
You guys are the reactors who watch that show.
We are addicted to the drama.
Yeah.
I wish they would invite me and my wife to go be. They have a show called Pillow Talk.
Yeah.
Where people react to the episodes.
Can you submit?
No, it's only for people
who
have
been on it.
Look at how Hector is so angry right now because he hates this show so much because Abby loves it.
I've heard it. I've heard enough about that show.
And I also just started watching Bitchin' Rides.
Oh, that's cool.
All right,
that's cool. Yeah,
it's a car customization show. It's old. It's no longer on the air.
But
it's
I thought it was
syndication.
new.
No.
Oh,
it's in syndication now, and they're just doing reruns, and me and my wife are just like,
Amazing.
oh, that's dope. Oh, that sucks.
cool.
Oh, that's dope. So
That's
we watched
amazing.
90 Day Fiancé and Bitch and Rides.
I don't really have any. I admittedly don't
You don't
have
watch
any
TV.
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go back and watch older stuff, but I haven't gotten to it yet. But movies, I've been watching a lot of like stuff that's been restored from the 90s because the 4Ks are coming out. I just did Adam's Family, so I've been watching a lot of old stuff. None of them are really guilty pleasures because I still think they're pretty good movies. But that's been my big focus mostly, has been watching old remasters
I don't know.
or new remasters of old movies.
I'm borrowing from Adam a 4K set of the Underworld movies. I'll say
Yeah.
that. I'll say that's my guilty pleasure because I am a sucker for I'll give any show a season, but I can't do reality TV. I can't do stuff that I know is going to
either.
be because I get so stressed about like why aren't I working on the other shows I have
That are priority.
backlog that are priority. I'll give you one. Star Trek Enterprise, I think,
Okay.
because I just watched the first episode the other night.
Yeah.
When I was not feeling so great, and I puked a little bit in the morning because of some food poisoning. Maybe I was drinking too much wine the night before. Keller's
Try
birthday.
keeping up with someone, didn't you?
Keller's birthday. I try to keep up with Adam, but I woke up real early. I was feeling bad, pukey. I puked a little bit, and then I went and sat on the couch in the living room. And I had never seen an episode of Star Trek Enterprise, which is the only Star Trek show I had never seen an episode of. Everything else I've either watched all of or like I'm almost done with Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
Is that the one that came out in the 90s?
Yes, these are the 90s shows.
Okay.
Star Trek Enterprise premiered in 2001.
Okay.
And it was the last Star Trek show. It went for 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And when it was over, Star Trek was off the air for like, 15 years or something, 10 years until the new show and the new movies and stuff. So it was like a long period.
Okay.
And before that, there was a Star Trek show on every year since 1987 with the Patrick Stewart like revamp. So it was the end of an era. I'd never seen it. Watched the first episode. Yo, that show is corny as hell. I really liked it, but it's also super horny. There was in it.
It's a horny
oh
space
my
opera.
God. I did not know. I had heard about the There's a great character in Star Trek. I love this character, and Jerry Ryan is a fantastic actor. 7 of 9 is a wonderful character, and she was brought into one of the 90s shows very clearly to up the sex appeal.
Wait,
And
what's the
she's
character's name?
7 of 9.
Seven
and
of
you've
9.
seen her. She's the blonde woman that has
Yeah.
like the
Okay,
thing here.
yeah.
Because she was assimilated by the Borg, but now she's trying to be human again, and she has a skin tight like thing on, like her outfit, and and she's in fantastic shape in the 90s and even today because she was also on Picard. They brought her back, but you can watch this.
yeah.
You can watch the show as an adult, and you go. I mean, I probably knew this even as a kid, but I'm like, I know why they brought this character on, and it's a bummer when you can see the Matrix code of like, oh man, that sucks. But
It's the woman in the red dress.
but it's still good writing and good acting, all that stuff. I thought that was like egregious, bro. Star Trek Enterprise has like incredibly attractive people coming back from a mission, and because it's supposed to be the earliest set Star Trek show, like before Kirk, before the Federation was a thing, it's just Earth, it's just like they're dealing with Vulcans. They're like, well, you have to come back, and we have to like, put you through a little quarantine because you may have space probes on you. Anyway, there's some lotion in there. You're gonna have to rub it on yourself. So there's a whole scene where these people are just like it's like a Baywatch scene where they're just like ripped bodies and they're like smoking hot, and this Vulcan character is.
So it's Star Trek Horn Dogs.
It's so horny. It's so horny that I'm like, anybody complaining, any of those bullshit fans that are complaining about Star Trek today being like too sexy or too whatever, just because there's like a gay couple on Discovery or like, and there's always these bad faith actors that are like, oh, don't, you should be talking about sexuality. Don't shove it down our throats. Blah, 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 blah. This is this like the horniest hetero show. So just the first episode.
All right.
Where I'm like, y'all are full of crap. But that's a guilty pleasure. Like, I think I'm going to try to get through the rest
You
of that.
don't need to borrow from you is Batman the series.
Right? The 60s show.
Yeah.
I got that on Blu-ray. It's fun. I found it used.
He put it on while we were doing, just in the background while we were having Friendsgiving, but I was so glued onto that thing.
So corny. I love
it's
it.
so great. I've never actually seen it in order.
We were watching it in HD too. So Burt Ward and Adam West were like
They
almost
look tan.
almost in brown face.
They
They
were burnt.
They were burnt, Ward. They were like crispy.
They were like
crispy.
Crispy.
And we're like,
Yeah.
what is this? And I was saying, like, well, that's 60s television.
Yeah.
They had to wear this much makeup, like
Yeah.
stage
To
makeup,
look good.
to look normal on like black and white or color TVs
Yeah.
in the 60s. But now with HD, we're like, oh my God.
Too
Too
much,
crispy, too
much,
crispy.
Too much. That's a guilty pleasure.
All right,
Let's
last
wrap-
question.
Let's wrap it up.
Jason Bombach, I'm headed to LA on a 6,000-mile road trip next week. What should I check out?
There's this question is so hard for me to answer because
This is why you should be
so
following us on
much.
social meds.
Right.
Ask us
So,
on Twitter.
First of all, follow us on social media.
Yeah.
Because there's restaurants that change from day to day of like my favorites and where you should go.
Yeah.
And, visiting LA is very tough because there's no central area where you can visit as well.
Yeah.
So like you can have just as good of food in East LA as you can on the west side, or you can go to Culver City, you can go to Burbank. Like there's tacos de venado up in your area.
Yep.
Like there's so much
Guisados
good
over
stuff.
in Burbank.
I
Yep.
would just say stay the fuck away from Hollywood. It's the worst place on earth. There's human poop everywhere.
Yeah.
There's just like just stay away from that place. Don't go there.
If you need to sightsee, like drive through
Yeah.
it, but don't walk.
Don't
like just
walk
just
there.
driving, like, oh, there's like the Chinese theater,
Yeah.
and there's
My
like,
mom so badly was like, maybe we should just go to Hollywood and walk around. And I'm like,
No.
Mom,
No.
let
No.
me explain this to you.
No.
It's one block,
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a bunch of stars on the floor, which are
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and it's abysmal.
And there's a theater,
Mhm.
and there's the El Cap, which is also nice.
Right.
Mhm.
It's kind of it.
If you're going to watch a movie,
Yeah.
go to the El Cap, go
Yeah.
to the Chinese theater, like
sure.
go
Yeah.
somewhere,
Yeah.
but don't just like walk around Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
worst.
After
place
one
on
block,
earth.
you're like, all right, I've seen it.
And I
Yeah.
used to recommend, like, go to some comedy theaters. They're all shut down.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I used to say, go see an improv show. They all kind of
They're
shut
all
down.
not there
right
anymore.
now. They're
Yeah.
not there anymore. Like I used to say, like, go to the 101 Cafe.
Right.
Cafe 101. It's not there anymore. So yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe look up, like, I don't know if you're into it, Jason. Maybe best comic stores in LA.
Golden Apple.
There's
would
some
be-
cool ones.
If you're
There's
gonna
some
hit
cool
up like
ones.
a comic place, what's the
Yep.
one in Burbank?
House of Secrets.
House of Secrets,
Fantastic
and then Golden
shop.
Apple in LA. There's not a lot of good. Oh, the Last Bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
down-
will
in
say that that's a
downtown.
really
Yeah.
cool place to visit.
Very
the
cool.
Last
Very
Bookstore
cool.
has
Yeah.
cool bookstore at the bottom, and then kind of like this fantastical like book display up
Yeah.
top. It's just
But
like
you do have to walk over human shit to get into the.
well,
you know.
downtown LA
Yeah.
is not as bad, but
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
go one block too far, it is the
Yeah.
worst place on earth.
Yeah.
I do also enjoy Little Tokyo, the Arts District, like that part of
Yes.
that part of LA.
But also Pasadena's rad.
I love Pasadena.
P-Town.
I love
Pasadena's
Pasadena.
very rad.
I like
Disneyland.
I like New Pasadena. I also really enjoy South Pass.
Yeah,
It's small, but I feel like in that little area,
right.
there's good restaurants. There's some good
Lots
bars.
of great filming locations.
Lots of great filming locations.
Yeah.
But hit us up on Twitter and ask. And like,
Yeah,
I'm more than willing to give you a list of a few things that I really like about
it's
LA.
very
Watch,
hard to
by the time-
generalize.
By the time this airs, like they're already back
Yeah.
home. Like,
Yeah.
So
they're
yeah, I was there last
exactly.
week. Sorry.
oh, okay.
There's just it's too much, but
Yeah.
just let us know what area you're in, and then I can point to any
Oh, yeah, that's a good
place
point.
that
Yeah.
you want
Or
to
what
go
you're
to.
interested in.
Yeah, or
If
what
you-
you're interested in.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
you could just as well go to like a turtle race and then go watch like roller derby at night,
Yeah.
or just like whatever you want is.
Yeah.
The reason I love
Sky's
LA
the
is because
limit.
everything you want is here. You just have to go and find it.
Yeah, but it also makes it hard because
Right.
with my mom, she was here for the day,
Yeah.
and it was like, well, do we go to Pasadena? Do we go to Beverly Hills?
Yeah, you have to
Do we
make
go
a
to
choice.
Venice?
Mhm.
Do we
Yeah.
go to Santa Monica? And they're in every opposite direction.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you want to go here, it's going to be 30 minutes from here to there. It's going to be 20 minutes to there to there. So you kind of do have to pick a little bit of a centralized
You do.
area if you don't
You do.
have more than a day,
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
which
for
makes
sure.
it hard.
Yeah.
And my mom didn't really like LA that much because of it.
Oh man.
Well, yeah. I
She's
mean,
like, it's too far.
there's no central area.
No.
and it's,
even
it's
after
really,
seeing the set of CzechXicans, she
No, this
didn't-
was her favorite thing. She took
Cool.
a picture on here. And
it's
everything.
really not far, but the traffic makes it far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 10 miles, but it takes 45 minutes, and you're like,
Right.
come on, man,
Yeah,
what the
exactly,
fuck?
exactly.
So, yeah. So I think it's tough. You have to be very specific with what you want to do, and you just have to know what you want, basically.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
you can kind of aimlessly drive around, and you'll be driving until you
You'll
run
be
out of
miserable.
gas. Yeah.
Yeah,
you gotta
but
know what you want.
know what you want.
You gotta be pure of heart.
Yeah,
You have to be daring, but play it safe.
and you have to
Be
Be
curious.
a planeteer.
Uh-huh.
You got, you have to be a little sexy. You gotta be spicy.
Where are you sending them?
You gotta be. You
Cool,
gotta be
you
cool.
gotta be calm,
You gotta be stronger. There you go. So do all that.
Oh, my God. That's going to wrap it up for our questions.
Hey guys,
Thank you guys
I want
so much
Chexican
for
merch.
watching.
Can we make a
Ooh.
Chexican shirt?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's just make one.
Let's
Okay,
do it.
let's make
Why
one.
not?
I need to check.
We'll brainstorm. We'll brainstorm.
CzechXicans.
Yeah.
CzechXicans.
I like that.
Yeah,
We'll brainstorm
let's do
some
it.
ideas. We'll brainstorm. Let us know in the comments below. What are some of your answers to these questions that were asked today? And what did we talk about in the beginning? Yeah.
She-Hulk looked great. Moon Knight looked great. We'll talk more about that stuff later, I guess.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even talk about Disney Plus Day.
It was a Disney Plus
It was
panel
all
that
right.
we didn't talk about.
It was whatever. It was fine.
That stuff looked tight. She-Hulk's
Maybe
my
we'll
girl.
talk about that on the bonus episode
Yeah.
for the Patreon.
Yeah. Submit your questions for next month as well. That'll be our last episode of the year, plus our bonus episode that we'll be doing as well. We'll be talking about Christmas stuff. That'll be a lot of fun.
for
We'll have
sure,
watched
for sure.
Hawkeye. We'll be starting Boba Fett. So it'll be a
Lots
lot
to
of fun. I
talk
can't
about.
wait.
Lots to
Last
talk about.
episode of the year. And then stay tuned for all the new stuff that we're going to be doing on Patreon, special merch drops. Obviously, you already subscribed. Or if you've just found this, whether it's on the audio version or the video version, you haven't subscribed before, you should subscribe. Consider subscribing. Check out everything that we're doing on the channel. Check out our podcast. Check out our Patreon. And we'll see you guys next month.
Bye.
Bye. We should do that thing where we're talking, but it's like the news credits are rolling up, and then we just sort of
And
this
then
mouth.
I'll roll
Awkward and
down
just like,
the...
yeah.
Yeah. Guys, my hemorrhoids are just like...
Yeah, really. What? You're what? Oh, dude, my dick feels weird right now, dude. You know, about 15 minutes into the podcast tonight, I sat on my balls, and it's been hurting this entire time. So